This page is the front cover of SEGA Saturn magazine, dated June 20th, 1997. It's packed with news, highlighting a special report on Atlus's new game announcements and other latest information. Featured games on this issue include Real Sound, Wind Regret, Ronde, Devil Summoner, Soul Hackers, Sonic Jam, Last Bronx, Langrisser IV, and Willy Wombat. There's also a spotlight on Hyperdimension Fortress Macross, Do You Remember Love?, Bulk Slash, and Advanced World War. A special interview is featured with Yu Suzuki and Yuichi Nibori from Sega AM2 Research. The magazine also advertises a comic section called Comic Saturn Maga. This weekly magazine was priced at 390 yen back then.
Overall, it looks like a very informative issue covering a wide range of Saturn games.
This page screams high-energy, American-style, comical action. It's designed like a comic book page, and it looks like it's showcasing a game that's full of over-the-top cartoon action. Judging by the characters and the chaotic scenes, it's heavily inspired by American comics and animation. You've got speech bubbles with lines like, "Look what we've got here. It's like a tailor-made," and "We have a special today. How about some lead bullets?" It's all very tongue-in-cheek. The blam sound effects everywhere really emphasize the explosive action. One character even jokes about having his joints lubed yesterday, adding to the silliness. It's definitely highlighting a fast-paced, humorous shooter. And it's got that distinct Sega vibe with the logo at the bottom. This feels like it's going to be a really fun and chaotic game, leaning heavily into the action and comedy aspects. This page showcases the wild and wacky action of Three Dirty Dwarves. It really jumps out with its comic book style layout, packed with over-the-top cartoon violence and humor. You've got these tough-looking dwarf characters smashing enemies and causing mayhem, all presented in vibrant comic panels. The game's title, Three Dirty Dwarves, is boldly displayed, and it looks like it's emphasizing the chaotic, action-packed gameplay. There are phrases on the page that reinforce this feeling, even in Japanese text, which describes the game as reading like an American comic book with unpredictable and interesting developments. It mentions it's an action game for 1 to 3 players, and highlights some in-game scenarios within the comic panels. The page overall really pushes the sense of fun, chaotic, beats-em-up action with a strong American comic book aesthetic, perfectly in line with the energy of the previous page. It's clearly aiming to grab attention with its over-the-top style and promises of crazy dwarfonomy action. And right at the bottom, it clearly states it's for the Sega Saturn, and even shows the console and controller, giving you the price too, at 5,800 yen. The next page puts the focus squarely on Side Pocket 3 for the Sega Saturn. This one's all about polygon billiards, and it looks like they are really pushing the realistic feel of the game, with the tagline, "The Real Feel." You've got this stylish-looking woman character front and center, holding a cue and standing by a rendered pool table complete with scattered billiard balls. It's a pretty slick visual style, quite a contrast to the cartoon chaos of the Three Dirty Dwarves on the previous page. It mentions it's set for release this summer and will be priced at 5,800 yen.
So it seems like Sega Saturn owners are getting a polished and visually impressive billiard simulation to look forward to. Side Pocket 2 for the Sega Saturn aims for a realistic billiards experience, utilizing motion capture and 3D graphics for authentic cue action and ball movement. The game introduces new shots like jump and draw shots, and emphasizes realistic shot feedback and aiming. Beyond core gameplay, players can enjoy challenge modes, including a mystery scenario and an edit mode for creating custom trick shots. In-game character interactions and dialogue, featuring female characters, hint at a story element. The developers focused on supreme expression and supreme gameplay to provide a comprehensive billiards experience, promising a variety of ways to enjoy the game. This sequel, developed by Data East Corp. in 1997, strives to deliver a complete and enjoyable billiards experience. This page is a promotional advert for 2 Sega Saturn games. The top half of the page is dedicated to Princess Crown, announcing the start of a joint project between Atlus and Sega for this Sega Saturn exclusive action RPG. It mentions a planned release date in late July 1997 and a price of 5,800 yen. The game features artwork from Vanillaware artist Kinu Nishimura, showcasing a detailed character art style with a princess and fairy character. The bottom half of the page promotes Groove on Fight, a fighting action game for 14 players compatible with joysticks, and the Sega Saturn multi-terminal 6-player adapter. The game is
priced at 5,800 yen for the CD version and 7,800 yen for the cartridge version, and is already on sale. It also advertises a Strongest Fighting Set present campaign running until June 30th. This campaign is a lottery to win a special set of arcade controller parts for Groove On Fight, with 5 winners getting the Strongest Fighting Set itself, which includes the controller box, base, and arcade board cassette, and another 100 winners receiving an arcade version instruction and command seal set. To enter, players need to cut out the application ticket included in the Groove On Fight product and send it in with required personal details to the address provided. This page showcases DXIRD, a combat game for Sega Saturn that is now on sale for 5,800 yen. It highlights super fast and three-dimensional battles, thanks to a new DD system that utilizes the ceiling and walls as part of the fighting stage. The game emphasizes offensive gameplay by making waiting disadvantageous, promising a fresh system. It boasts beautiful techniques and combos, utilizing motion capture technology, a crucial element in DXIRD. The combat is described as a full combination battle, using swords and fists, aiming for seamless and fluid combos between weapons and unarmed attacks. The page features character portraits of 3 individuals at the top and smaller character illustrations at the bottom, showcasing the game's cast. Screenshots depict in-game action with character names like Boy, Karen, and Seiya displayed. Lastly, there's an advertisement for a TBS radio program called Kosuke and Ice Cold Game Doranite, mentioning that DXIRD will be featured on the radio until the end of June, a must-listen for fans. This page is all about Macross Do You Remember Love? For the Sega Saturn, marking the 15th anniversary of Macross. It's being advertised as on sale from June 6th. The text at the top talks about a battlefield love song and references key Macross characters like Lin Minmei, Hikaru Ichijo, and Misa Hayase, highlighting the romantic and dramatic elements of the story. It mentions the game blends CG and anime to recreate the theatrical anime experience and capture the feeling of being on a real battlefield. Below, we see screenshots showcasing the horizontal scrolling shooter gameplay. The game is a one-player experience, comes on 2 CRID-ROMs, supports memory backup, and is priced at 6,800 yen before tax. The box art is also displayed, and it's noted that Haruhiko Mikimoto is responsible for the illustrations. Essentially, this page is hyping up the Sega Saturn release of Macross Do You Remember Love, emphasizing its faithfulness to the anime movie and its exciting shooter action. This page features a striking illustration of what appears to be Lin Minmei, the iconic singer from Macross, in a performance pose with a microphone. It's a very visually driven page, with the prominent Sega Saturn logo in the top right corner, likely continuing the promotion for the Macross game mentioned on the previous page. Macross, Do You Remember Love? The focus seems to be on the character and the artistic style, potentially highlighting the anime aesthetic of the game. This page is dedicated to Dark Seed 2, a game based on the fantastic artwork of H.R. Geiger. It seems to be an adventure game with a focus on a disturbing, dreamlike world. The page features striking visuals in Geiger's signature biomechanical style, including a large eye symbol and unsettling imagery typical of his work. The text mentions a murder incident and dark world invasion within the game's plot. It also highlights the beautifully rendered graphics and the engaging story that players can enjoy, even if they haven't played the previous game. The game is advertised for both PlayStation and Sega Saturn, with release dates listed as August 1st for PlayStation and August 8th for Sega Saturn, each priced at 5,800 yen. The page also showcases 3 in-game screenshots hinting at the game's environments and visual style. Overall, it's a visually impactful advertisement for a horror adventure game, emphasizing its unique art style and intriguing storyline. This page announces the upcoming release of Terra Cresta 3D for the Sega Saturn. It's a bold advert with the game title, Terra Cresta, displayed in a metallic, imposing font, backed by a striking red, phoenix-like crest design. Below that, in smaller red lettering, it says 3D. In Japanese, it states, Terra Cresta is coming out, and highlights that there will be a first-run bonus, with details to be announced soon. The publisher, Nichibutsu, is prominently featured in large yellow letters. At the bottom, we see the game title again, along with the price of 6,800 yen and a URL. It's a straightforward and visually strong advertisement to get Saturn fans excited for this 3D update to the classic shooter series. This page introduces the SS Joypad AI, a programmable controller for the Sega Saturn. It's advertised as a powerful tool for combo moves, allowing for 54 different commands to be registered and activated with a single button press. It features 2 input timing modes: fast timing for instant command execution, and real timing, which memorizes the exact timing of button presses for complex techniques. The controller also boasts a slow motion function with 5 adjustable levels, ideal for tackling difficult stages. The ad highlights its suitability for action, shooting, and racing games, promising to elevate the gameplay experience. It's slated for release on July 11, 1997, with a suggested retail price of 3,980 yen. This innovative controller is brought to you by Intech. This page is all about the upcoming Sega Saturn game, Slayers Royal. It's clearly aimed at fans of the Slayers anime and games, promising a dream crossover of characters from both Slayers and Slayers Special. The advert highlights that this role-playing game is exclusive to the Sega Saturn and is slated for release on July 25th, with a price tag of 6,300 yen, excluding tax. The page is packed with familiar faces. Lena Inverse, Naga the Serpent, and Guri Gabriev are all prominently featured, with their names shouted out in bold text. They've also included screenshots showing off the game. One highlights the powerful battle scenes, and the other boasts about the easy screen controls. Looking at the character art at the bottom, it seems we'll also be seeing Zelgadis and Amelia in this adventure. For any Slayers fan on the Saturn, this looks like a game to definitely keep an eye on. This page showcases the game Kakusei, which translates to something like lower classman or junior student, and it's clearly aiming for a mature audience with its suggestive anime-style artwork of girls. The phrase Kokoro no Tokimeki at the top translates to heart's throb and probably reflects the game's theme or focus on romance and excitement. You can see a bunch of small images scattered around the page, all seemingly taken directly from the game itself, highlighting different female characters and suggestive situations. Published by Elf, known for their adult-oriented games, it's a title likely to appeal to fans of the genre. The bottom of the page has the Elf Company logo and website address, for those wanting to know more. This page continues to promote the game Kakusei, and at the top the text says, "I want to tell you." It's clearly an advertisement highlighting the game is now on sale, as the yellow burst at the top right shouts, "Now on sale! Popular item on sale!" It mentions it comes on 3 Krendroms, and the suggested retail price is 7,800 yen excluding tax. You can see a large image of one of the game's characters, a girl in a school uniform, and around her are smaller in-game screenshots which give you a peek at the kind of suggestive scenes you can expect, fitting with the adult theme we talked about on the last page. The bottom right corner also reinforces this, stating it has an age rating of 18 years and over. Overall, it's a pretty straightforward ad, trying to entice players to buy Kakusei now that it's available. This page showcases several game guides. The Mobile Suit Gundam Side Story Setting Material Collection is a 96-page full-color guide for the Gundam Side Story games, costing 1,600 yen. It features character profiles, mobile suit details, and story information. The Martian Successor Nadesico Perfect Guide, a 2-page B5 guide for 1,000 yen, likely covers the Nadesico game. The new Theme Park Perfect Guide, 128 pages, a 5-size, 1,000 yen, assists players in managing a theme park simulation game on Sega Saturn and PlayStation. Finally, the Advanced World War Millennium Empire's Orgy Official Guide, a 256-page B5 guide for 1,500 yen, offers extensive information for the game. A near-new book corner advertises upcoming guides for several games, including Zeroion Champ Doozy Best Tune, Sega Touring Car Championship, Graduation S, Virtua Fighter 3, and a Sakura Wars photo collection. This page announces new Sakura Wars merchandise for fans. The primary offering is the Sakura Wars Flower Division communication, A digital fan disc in newspaper format with interviews, movie clips, and other content, priced at 4,800 yen. Other products include the Sakura Wars Secret File, photo CD with design materials for 1,437 yen, the Sakura Wars Original Picture and Setting Material Collection, comprehensive guide for 1,942 yen, and the Sakura Wars Columns Official Guide, Columns Puzzle Game Guide for 933 yen. The page also features a Sakura fortune-telling compatibility quiz. Sakura Wars Flower Division communication content includes drama crids, an image gallery, and special bonuses like a Imperial Capital Great Dictionary and combat costume paper patterns. This page is the contents page for this issue. We can see on page 81, there's a feature about the fantastic relationship between the SEGA Saturn and radio, highlighting radio programs where you can get game-related information. Moving on to page 91, we have a special called Comic Saturn Maga, which is part 2, featuring a collection of 4-panel manga comics based on games and created by popular manga artists and game developers. Page 27 is marked as a special report, and it looks like it's covering a bunch of games. The titles mentioned are Real Sound, Devil Summoners, Soul Hackers, Sonic Jam, Last Bronx, J-League Pro Soccer Club Otsukuru 2, which is likely J-League Pro Soccer Club Create 99, Langrisser IV, Marble Superheroes, Willy Wombat, Album Club, and a game called Heartbeat, Centphoria. Page 54 has a special interview between Yu Suzuki, department head of Sega AM2 Research, and Yuji Miyagi, the president of Game Arts, focusing on Sega AM2 Research and Game Arts. Finally, page 58 seems to be asking, do you love the valuable Real Model series? And it's about action figures of popular Sega Saturn characters making their debut. This magazine issue focuses on Sega Saturn games. SEGA Saturn Press previews upcoming titles like Praetor Disc Volume 6, Ultimate Battle 22, and Roommate Ryoko in Summer Vacation. Coming Soon Soft previews games like Scarlet Youth and Quiz Not Nightmare. The magazine also features strategy guides for Game Paradise and a discussion about Miniscapolis. AM2 Research Express Neo Weekly highlights team formations in Virtua Striker 2 Ver2, while AM3 Research Rush focuses on Virtua on Oxover. A game index lists reviewed games, and additional sections cover news, reader content, and features like software data and developer spotlights from AM1, AM2, and AM3. This page from SEGA Saturn Magazine delivers news about a major shift in the industry. The planned merger between Sega and Bandai has been called off. Instead of merging, they've decided to form a business alliance. The article details a press conference where presidents from both companies addressed the situation. Sega's president, Nakayama, expressed responsibility for the cancellation, while Bandai's president, Yamashina, voiced regret, but acknowledged the inherent difficulties in merging companies with different cultures. The piece suggests the decision came after internal issues and a re-evaluation of the merger's benefits. Despite the merger falling through, the article emphasizes a positive outlook, assuring users that both companies will continue to collaborate, especially in character-driven entertainment and consumer businesses. Interestingly, newspaper reports suggest that the massive success of Tamagotchi, Bandai's popular virtual pet, played a role in Bandai's changed stance on the merger. Finally, there's a small announcement for a radio program called Album Club Department, which will be broadcast on AM Kobe Radio. SEGA Saturn Magazine announces several exciting events. A Mr. Bones promotion offers MTV Video Music Award tickets for CVS purchases. A Mr. Bones event at Lafayette Harajuku featured playable demos. Voice actress Mariko Kuda is releasing a single, with telecards offered to readers. Imagineer introduces Imadio, a character-focused brand expanding into multimedia. An Enemy Zero exhibition will be held in Shibuya, with photography allowed and exclusive merchandise. The Final Romance series is being novelized. Finally, Sega GameWorks entertainment facilities, co-founded by Spielberg, are opening locations in America, with diverse attractions. The top-selling Sega Saturn games are dominated by a variety of genres. Kakusei, a romance adventure, leads the pack, followed by Mobile Battleship Nadesico, after all, love wins out, right? Baseball Simulation, Professional Baseball Greatest 997, Action, Mobile Suit Zeta Gundam Part 1, Zeta's Pulse. And Simulation. The convenience store monopolized that store. Games round out the top 5. Other popular titles include fighting games like Fighters Megamix and Groove on Fight, along with Neon Genesis Evangelion Second Impression and Neon Genesis Evangelion New Package. Showcasing the anime's appeal, RPG fans had Yuseiyu, Kings the Spirits 2. The chart concludes with games such as Starsteed Winner, 2 Strongest Horse Legend, Puyo Puyo Sun, Cyber Troopers Virtualon, DX Jinsei Game, SEGA Saturn Collection, and Sakura Wars. This page highlights 2 popular game charts. The User Data Top 20 reveals fan desires for SEGA Saturn ports. Leading the list are Vampire Savior, the Final Fantasy series, and Neon Genesis Evangelion, Girlfriend of Steel. Other popular requests include The House of the Dead and various fighting and RPG titles. The Shop Data Top 15 showcases arcade favorites. Virtua Fighter 3 reigns supreme, followed by Tekken 3 and Cyber Troopers Virtualon. Fighting games and Sega titles are dominant. The page spotlights Soldi Divide, a fantasy shooting game praised for its graphics. Ronde is noted as nearing completion. Finally, True Love Story, a romance-adventure game, is featured, albeit with a low port realization rate. This page reveals the User Data Top 30, showcasing the most awaited SEGA Saturn games. Taking the top spot is Super Robot Wars F, heralded as the Ultimate Series entry with development at 60%. Following in second and third are Sentimental Graffiti and Grandia. Sentimental Graffiti, at 70% development, is expected to deliver a compelling story. Grandia promises new summer information. Real Sound, Wins Regret, ranked 6th, is a pickup check game. This sound adventure, 80% complete, promises a unique audio experience. Devil Summoner, Soul Hackers, is also showcased as Coming Soon, a highly anticipated installment in the popular series, boasting significant content and a November release. Beyond the top ranks, the chart from 4th to 30th includes a diverse range of titles like Sonic Jam, Virtua Fighter 3, Panzer Dragoon Saga, listed as Azel, Resident Evil 2, Langrisser IV, Lunar Eternal Blue, Dead or Alive, and Fatal Fury, Wild Ambition, among many others, demonstrating the breadth of games Saturn fans were eager for. Virus and Fatal Fury are also briefly flagged as coming soon. This page showcases the weekly SEGA Saturn Readers Race Volume 55, a popularity poll determined by reader votes. It seems Tsukyu Gurentai, also known internationally as Terra Diver, has climbed to the coveted #1 spot in the rankings, a notable shift, as it's described as amazing. The previous leader, Kakusei, Underclassman, has apparently dropped slightly to second place. The page highlights the intense competition amongst the top titles, mentioning a fierce battle for position between ranks 2nd and 4th. It also points out Tsukyu Gurentai managed to break through and claim the top spot, suggesting strong reader support. It seems there is anticipation for next week's rankings as well, especially regarding new releases. Further down the chart, at position 71, Groove on Fight is marked as new, indicating its entry into the rankings for the first time. The page is essentially a snapshot of game popularity based on reader input, with a focus on the top games and any significant changes in position, especially the rise of Terra Diver to #1. It's a reader-driven chart showing the pulse of SEGA Saturn gamers at the time and their current game preferences. This page continues the SEGA Saturn Readers Race, with Terra Diver still in the lead. Game reviews follow. Sea Bass Fishing is praised as a well-made fishing game, accessible and challenging. It receives an 8.75 average score. Groove on Fight, new to the charts, offers smooth controls despite dated graphics, scoring an 8.65. Stakes Winner 2 is a racing game lauded for its arcade perfect port and improved speed, though its difficulty is high. It scores an 8.5. Farland Story, Dance of Destruction, a strategy RPG, is deemed too simplistic and dated, with a 4.6 average score. Finally, Those Who Hunt Elves an adventure game, is criticized for its simplicity and lack of branching storylines, earning a 4.0. The next page continues the odds chart for Saturn games and introduces a new arrival titled Grid Runner. Described as a Virgin Interactive title from December 1996, priced at 5,800 yen in the action genre, and receiving an average score of 3.3 and a Hall of Fame score of 6.35. The page mentions that only one new software title arrived this week, causing little change in the usual trends. It notes that the Tokimeki Memorial Selection, Fujisaki Shiori Poem Anthology, has dropped 22 ranks and is showing signs of declining popularity. The page also highlights that Saturn B ratings show unexpected discoveries, with the middle tier of the odds chart being particularly interesting this week. The review section humorously discusses the current hot gaming season, asking if the Saturn odds chart is the hottest bottom-ranked battle, and anticipating reaching 500 titles soon. It mentions that the world is experiencing another Star Wars boom, comparing it to the current game trends, and questioning if the King of SF is making a comeback. It encourages readers to try out these games and asks, "Really?" in a playful tone, likely referring to the low scores of some titles in the odds chart compared to the excitement being generated. This page highlights upcoming game previews, including titles like Dragon Force, described as a classic adventure game with a straightforward narrative set in China, earning a score of 4.66. Fantastic Step, another adventure title, is praised for its music and visuals, offering enjoyable and slightly melancholic gameplay, also scoring 6.66. Black Dawn, a flight simulator shooter aimed at beginners, is noted for its lack of story, but still achieves a 6.66 score. Lastly, Dream Square is mentioned for its still images and video content, appealing to fans of the genre. On the right side, you'll find a ranked list of SEGA Saturn peripherals based on reader votes. There are also details for two contests, one where readers predict the ranking of the game Eber Rouge, and another where they guess game odds, both offering Saturn software as prizes. A larger contest is also advertised, featuring special prizes like power memory with joysticks, cordless pads, and Saturn games. Finally, there's a guide showing readers how to fill out postcards to participate in these contests. This page is all about Real Sound Kaze no Regret, or Wind Regret, which is hyped for achieving unprecedented sound quality. It's presented as an interview piece, discussing the development of this interactive sound drama, which will span across 4 C-DROMs and is priced at 6,400 yen, with a release date set for July 18th. The interview highlights that the sound quality is a major focus, being described as perfect and nearing completion. The producer, Ino, explains that the game is very focused on the emotional reactions of the female characters to the player's choices, emphasizing how player actions will affect their feelings and responses to the protagonist. Technically, they've managed to achieve CD quality sound at 44.1 kHz and 16-bit stereo, which is significant for Saturn games. This is thanks to technology from a New York-based development company. The interview touches upon the issue of sound quality, often being compromised in games, especially in genres like fighting games, where sound cracking can occur, and Real Sound aims to overcome these limitations and deliver high-fidelity audio on the Saturn. Real Sound Kaze no Regret is an audio drama game that intentionally avoids visuals to prioritize emotional immersion. The creator, Ino, believes the strength lies in the listener's imagination, which is fueled by the script-based, sound-driven format. This approach allows players to personally visualize scenes, creating a unique experience akin to radio drama. The story revolves around Hiroshi, a college student, and Izumi, focusing on relatable, everyday emotions rather than typical game tropes. While mostly from Hiroshi's perspective, occasional cinematic moments exist. Ifano chose to keep the project non-visual, despite offers for TV or film adaptations, highlighting the freedom and immersive power of sound. He emphasizes emotional resonance over shock value, with the game expanding to 4 creeds, though the price remains unchanged. Takahashi Yusuke reviewed the trial version of Real Sound, an audio-based game relying on imagination. He found the experience impactful, even though he usually doesn't have such experiences. The game's story involves a man revisiting his submerged hometown, a village flooded by a dam. During the playthrough, the protagonist encounters a girl who he later realizes is his deceased childhood friend and First Love. The game triggered unrelated yet vivid memories in the reviewer's mind, primarily of lost connections and unrequited feelings. The audio narrative sparked emotions and memories that he couldn't specifically recall, yet felt permanently altered. The game evoked a feeling of a past relationship that ended badly. Real sound ultimately stirred up deeply personal and somewhat uncomfortable memories, leaving a lasting impression on the reviewer. This page is all about Atlus's two big new game announcements. It's shouting, "Special Report!" and highlighting two major new titles. The main focus is on Devil Summoners, Soul Hackers, which is described as the second game in the Devil Summoner series and an RPG coming to SEGA Saturn in November. It mentions it's priced at 6,800 yen and will be on 2 seeds. There's a screenshot from Soul Hackers showing a battle scene with the menu options like Fight, Talk, Comp, Escape, and Auto. Another image shows a dialogue scene with a character named Hitomi, who is saying, "Those people just now, they were cool, weren't they?" The article also talks about a press conference at a hotel on May 27th, where Atlus announced these two new Saturn titles. One is Soul Hackers, and the other is mentioned as a simulation RPG called Majin Tensei Ronde, or Ronde Rondo, which is also a Shin Megami Tensei series game. Both are original Sega Saturn titles. The page mentions that these two games, Ronde and Devil Summoner Soul Hackers, are expected to sell over 1 million copies combined, according to Atlus's public relations manager Hirano. It seems Atlus is confident that these new titles will strengthen their position in the market, especially as the Shin Megami Tensei series is celebrating its 10th anniversary. There's also a photo of 4 men at the press conference, presumably from Atlus. Atlus announced Ronde Rin Bukyoku, a new simulation RPG in the Shin Megami Tensei series for Sega Saturn, releasing in mid-September for 6,800 yen. Screenshots depict gameplay, including dialogue and battle scenes with RPG stats. The announcement celebrates the 10th anniversary of the Megami Tensei series, starting with the Famicom's digital devil story, Megami Tensei. Ronde and Soul Hackers are positioned as key titles for the Saturn. Sega executives Maejima and Okamura attended the press conference to express their support, recognizing the importance of RPGs and Atlus's titles for the year-end market. More details on each title will be provided in the next page. This page introduces Devil Summoners, Soul Hackers, the latest game in the Devil Summoner series for Sega Saturn. It features interviews with director Koji Okada and art director Kazuma Kaneko. The main theme is the crisis of an information network society. Kaneko mentions that Devil Summoner 2, tentative title, is also planned. The page detail system upgrades from the previous Devil Summoner game. Point 1 emphasizes user-friendliness with a customizable install system and save anywhere function. Point 2 highlights outdoor dungeons in addition to interiors, with 3D environments and interactive objects. Point 3 focuses on enhanced demon conversations, boasting over 10,000 message patterns and unexpected outcomes. The article mentions the previous game, True Goddess Reincarnation, Devil Summoner, noting its Saturn version was well received for its polygon graphics and story, where an ordinary protagonist becomes entangled with demons. Soul Hackers aims to build upon this foundation with a focus on network society themes and improved gameplay. This page introduces Ronde, or Rondo, a game themed around reincarnation and brotherly love. The development team includes producer Yuichi Iwata, scenario and game designer Tatsujiro Shibata, and character designer Kazuaki Yanagisawa. The game's core concept revolves around characters' souls changing and influencing each other. The narrative starts with the protagonist's brother being kidnapped by demons, leading him on a quest to the demon world. They are focusing on improving the game's system to be more user-friendly. The page also makes reference to their previous Super Famicom titles, Meijin Tensei and Meijin Tensei 2, both simulation RPGs released in the mid-90s. Spiral Nemesis is also featured with screenshots. Ronde itself seems to have 3D battle sequences, with a large number of character animations, and is already playable in demo form at events. They are highlighting features like customizable installation and enhanced demon conversations, with thousands of dialogue options. It seems like more news will follow soon. This special report preview focuses on Sonic Jam, a guide for the original Sonic the Hedgehog, released for the Mega Drive in 1991. Sonic Jam launching June 20th for 4,800 yen, will feature 100% completion content. The original game, which cost 6,000 yen and sold 6 million copies, sees Sonic racing to collect Chaos Emeralds and stop Drive Robotnik. The guide provides gameplay tips for the initial stages. In Green Hill Zone, players should navigate the loops and rolling log cautiously. Item boxes offer power-ups like rings, speed shoes, and invincibility. The first boss, Eggman, is defeated by attacking him from the opposite side of his wrecking ball. Marble Zone introduces underground ruins with traps and enemies like Gnarls, which can be defeated with the spin dash. Special stages can be entered by collecting 50 rings and grabbing the giant ring at the end of an act to obtain the Chaos Emeralds. This guide continues the exploration of Sonic the Hedgehog zones. Spring Yard Zone, Zone 3, features moving blocks and projectile shooting enemies. The Eggman fight requires timing. Labyrinth Zone, Zone 4, a water-based stage, emphasizes patience and switch finding, while the Eggman battle involves escaping rising water and dodging fireballs. Starlight Zone, Zone 5, offers speed but with challenging enemies and wind machines. The Check section advises on dealing with armadillos. Eggman appears in a balloon and must be targeted directly. Scrap Brain Zone, Zone 6, a trap-filled final level, features disappearing floors and fire hazards. The Eggman battle uses a wrecking ball for attacking. A zone select cheat code is also revealed. The final zone features the last Eggman battle, with light orbs and piston attacks. The guide concludes with a preview of Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Last Bronx's Saturn version promises enhanced battles compared to the arcade version, particularly with the introduction of secret arms. These hidden weapons add a layer of enjoyment to the game. The article teases the fun of winning with these unconventional weapons, highlighting 3 examples. Corn on the Cob, a hard, comical weapon. Model Shinkansen, a miniature bullet train. Ladle and Spatula, cooking utensils, with the ladle noted for its satisfying impact sound. Screenshots showcase these weapons used by characters. The game, still in development, is scheduled for release on July 25th by SEGA, priced at 6,800 yen. Rated for all ages, and spread across 2 seeds. This page delves deeper into the characters of Last Bronx and their secret arms, continuing from the previous page. It showcases 6 fighters: Tommy, Yoko, Kurosawa, Nagi, Zaimoku, and Red Eye. Each character is detailed alongside their unique, secret arm weapon, emphasizing the humorous and unconventional nature of these items. For Tommy, it's a deck brush, described as a tool for cleaning floors, but effective as a comical weapon in battle, especially when thrown. Yoko's weapon is a folding umbrella, useful for defense and protection, being lightweight and easy to wield. Kurosawa uses a fly swatter, highlighted for its size and surprise attack potential, inflicting mental damage on opponents. Nagi's weapon of choice is a spoon and fork, everyday eating utensils considered suitable for a lady. Zaimoku utilizes a mackerel, specifically its hard bone, noted for its toughness and potential as a weapon, drawing from the fish's delicious winter flavor. Lastly, Red Eye wields a soldery fish on a skewer, another fish weapon, suggesting it's perfect for pre-meal exercise and combat. Screenshots throughout the page show these characters in action with their respective weapons, further illustrating the gameplay and the quirky weapon system introduced in the Saturn version of Last Bronx. The page effectively highlights the added fun and variety these secret arms bring to the game. This page details the Purikura Extra campaign for the new sound novel game Machi, which translates to Town. It was a campaign where players could submit photos taken at Print Club photo booths to be used as extra characters in the game. The article is essentially reporting on the results of this campaign and interviews Mr. Nakanishi from Chunsoft to get his thoughts. Apparently, the campaign was a big success, with over 5,000 applications received. They were surprised by the number of male applicants, noting that a lot of them mentioned it was their first time using Purikura. The age range of applicants was mostly high school students to people in their mid-20s. But interestingly, there were also applications from older individuals, including mothers sending in photos of their children. Mr. Nakanishi mentions that they received a variety of photos, some straightforward and some more creative, with poses and expressions. He highlights the enthusiasm of the applicants and the effort people put into their submissions, He also humorously mentions receiving photos from groups of friends and even people sticking photos all over the postcards. The article concludes by mentioning the Tokyo Game Show event, where a Purakura booth was set up, which contributed to around 10% of the total applications. It seems the campaign generated a lot of buzz and successfully engaged players with the upcoming game. This page continues to talk about the Machi Purikura campaign, focusing on a special video being created and given to 50 lucky winners. This video is said to contain content not seen even in magazines, and will deeply explore the appeal of Maki. It will include footage of the main characters and behind-the-scenes making-of content. The article mentions interviews with staff like Nakamura Koichi and Nakanishi. There's a section that delves into what makes the video special, emphasizing it's packed with information and reveals the game's charm. It even includes interviews with key figures involved in the game's creation, offering insights into its world. The page also presents an age distribution chart of the applicants, showing that the majority of applicants were in the 1925 age range, with a surprisingly wide spread from 5 to 68 years old. This demonstrates the broad appeal of the campaign and the game itself, reaching beyond typical age demographics. Finally, at the bottom, there are video application details, stating that 50 winners will receive the special Machi video. To apply, readers need to send in a postcard with their address, name, age, occupation, and thoughts on Machi or SEGA Saturn Magazine to the provided address, with a deadline of June 20th. This page is all about the excitement for the new J-League Pro Soccer Club Wo Tsukuru, which we know internationally as SEGA Worldwide Soccer Manager. It's being touted as a major sports simulation game coming this summer from SEGA. The big news is the International Cup, a massive tournament held every 4 years where Japan's national team competes against the world's best. The article emphasizes that this isn't just any tournament, it's a world stage event where your edited players can actually get scouted and selected to represent Japan. Imagine building your club and seeing your star players playing for the national team. That's the kind of depth they're promising. It looks like the game will have a regional qualifying system to get into the International Cup. They mention that even if your players are called up for national duty, your club schedule will continue, with preseason matches and league games still happening. So, managing your squad depth and dealing with player absences due to international duty will be key. The developers, Tanaka Takeshi and Wada Akihito, are interviewed and seem really focused on making club management and player development the core appeal. They mention wanting to create a game that players can really sink their teeth into, building their club from the ground up and challenging the world stage. They highlight that player ability and popularity with fans will be important factors in national team selection. It sounds like they're aiming for a deep and engaging simulation experience. SEGA Worldwide Soccer Manager, J-League Pro Soccer Club Wo Tsukuru, emphasizes strategic depth with a revamped pre-match screen for easier navigation. The new opponent team menu allows for in-depth scouting. Tactical options are expanded, including offensive/defensive variations for formations and a DF-type section for defensive strategies. Tactics change features, like kicker change, add new tactical flexibility. Visual improvements include clearer player condition representation and an upgraded secretary character. Developers Tanaka and Wada discuss player selection for national teams, prioritizing performance and popularity. They highlight the enjoyment of building a successful club and hint at future installments with even more features. Langrisser IV, a simulation RPG, features complex character relationships crucial to understanding its dramatic story. This guide focuses on relationships up to Stage 7, presenting charts for the Federal Army and Kakunsis factions. The Federal Army includes Cleoness, Princess Rosenthal, Generals Kruger, Aldan, Lanford, Colonel Emily, and General Bulk, with potential romantic tensions and past connections adding depth. Ashley is tied to Kiselov, who is potentially disliked. The Kakunsis faction involves Willer, Selena, the self-centered Kakonsis king, Shelfaniel, Angelina, Rachel, and Ricky. Rachel is interested in McLean. Kiselov is a key manipulator connected to both factions, working alongside the mysterious Gendrasil. Landius and Ricky are brothers, connected to Rachel and the village chief. The game's Messiah version is expected in July, with a regular edition priced at 5,800 yen and a special package at 6,800 yen. This page delves deeper into Langrisser IV, continuing from the character relationship discussions on the previous page. It spotlights scenarios 6 and 7, titled Fierce General Bulk and Ancient Capital, respectively. Scenario 6 centers around acquiring a mysterious mirror, with General Bulk of the Kakonsis Kingdom featured. He appears to be a loyal general worried about his king's questionable actions. Gameplay tips hint at utilizing magic users and archers for ranged combat in this stage. King Kakonsis is also highlighted, depicted as a rather oblivious and self-absorbed ruler. Scenario 7 shifts focus to retrieving a stolen mysterious mirror from thieves within ancient ruins. It mentions treasures and a thief leader named Gel, suggesting a scenario focused on treasure hunting and battling thieves. There's a section pondering the identity of Gendrasil, a mysterious figure working with Giseloff, suggesting deeper conspiracies beyond Giseloff's actions alone. It's hinted that Gendrasil is communicating with McLean. Finally, there's a strategy guide for Scenario 3, providing a map and tactical advice. The guide suggests a route from Point A northward, using Point B as a defensive position to ambush enemies, engaging enemies head-on at Point C, and flanking with cavalry from Point D.
It specifically advises on how to handle spearmen units effectively. This page is all about Marvel superheroes on the Sega Saturn, emphasizing the over-the-top special moves and combos which are the real thrill of the game. It's a fighting game from Capcom, building on the X-Men series system but evolving it further. The page highlights how great the combo system is, making for exhilarating gameplay and positioning it as a top-tier fighting game. There are screenshots showing off characters like Captain America, Juggernaut, Hulk, Psylocke, Spider-Man, and even the more obscure Shumagorath. Two characters get special attention, Blackheart and Magneto. Blackheart is described as a tricky character who uses demonic and dark powers for his attacks, making him quite sinister and unusual. Magneto, the master of magnetism, utilizes magnetic, electric, and gravitational forces in his fighting style. He's presented as a powerful villain who's finally joining the Saturn lineup, and while he might seem like a tricky character for beginners, his destructive power is immense. The page mentions the game is coming out on July 8th, priced at 5,800 yen, and supports the expanded RAM cartridge. This page continues the focus on Marvel superheroes for the Saturn, and it's all about showcasing the spectacular special moves. It's highlighting several characters and their signature attacks. First up is Captain America with his charging star, using his vibranium shield offensively. Then we have Iron Man and his repulsor blast, emphasizing the high-tech armor and genius inventor aspect. Wolverine's drill claw is shown, emphasizing his adamantium claws as weapons. Spider-Man's spider sting is featured, described as fast and beautiful. Psylocke's PSI thrust utilizes her psychic abilities, calling her a beautiful mutant warrior. Hulk's Gamma Slam showcases his immense strength and surprising agility. Juggernaut's Earthquake Punch is a powerful ground-based attack. Shumagorath's Mystic Steer shows off his bizarre, otherworldly nature. Blackheart's Dark Thunder displays his dark, demonic powers used to trap opponents. Finally, Magneto's Disruptor highlights his magnetic powers and versatile fighting style. The bottom section is titled, Mosh's Unique Features Compared to Others, explaining that Marvel Superheroes introduces a new system with gem abilities. These gems are earned by defeating enemies and can be used in battle to power up characters, offering a high degree of freedom and strategic depth to the fights. This page introduces Willy Wombat, an upcoming action game from Hudson, set to release on June 27th, suitable for all ages and single-player. The main selling point is a system called AQV, or Action Quest View, promising a brand new action game experience. The article delves into the game's story, focusing on Willy and his pursuers within a location called Prison. We learn that Willy is after something called the Miracle Gem to gain freedom, having escaped from prison. The pursuers, who are from prison and are chasing Willy, are led by a character named Notes, who seems to be in a high-ranking position. There's a contrast highlighted between Willy and the pursuers' perspectives on prison, suggesting it's a place they view quite favorably. The screenshots show the 3D game environments and characters, hinting at the action gameplay. The page suggests a story-driven experience with interesting character dynamics at play. The next page continues introducing Willy Wombat, focusing on the game stages and gameplay progression. Stage 2 is Detrium City, described as a ruined city setting filled with highways, underground passages, and various urban environments inhabited by monsters. The traps in this stage are said to be more intricate than in the first stage. Moving on to Stage 3, Megalo Canyon, the environment shifts dramatically to a natural canyon setting,
a stark contrast to the previous stage's artificial feel. Despite the change in scenery, the game keeps its diverse gimmicks active here too, with elements like giant iron balls rolling down narrow paths adding to the challenge. The article emphasizes that as you advance through the stages, expect to encounter increasingly stronger and more varied enemies. New types of enemies will continually appear, challenging Willy. One example highlighted is the doll enemy, described as large and powerful, making it a formidable foe. Furthermore, the game map itself evolves. From the latter half of Stage 2 onwards, the map design becomes less linear and more expansive, giving players more freedom to explore and navigate the levels. Finally, the page teases what's in store for the stages beyond, mentioning power-ups for force and traps, indicating further progression and increased challenges ahead in Willy's adventure. This page highlights a key feature of the game, called AQV, or around quarter view. It's explained as a system that allows players to check areas that are normally hidden from the standard viewpoint. The article emphasizes that this is a core element of the game's design. It aims to showcase how AQV enhances gameplay by letting you discover hidden enemies and items, adding a layer of exploration. There's also a developer team roundtable discussion section where team members are chatting about the game's development. They mention the process of reaching the master version and various issues and staff discussions that occurred. Some developers, like Mr. Gohei and Mr. Nishizawa, share their thoughts. Gohei mentions the comical characters and how important the story and character settings were, while Nishizawa seems to prefer focusing on action gameplay and wasn't initially keen on the character emphasis. They also discuss the challenges of balancing story and action and how they ultimately aim to create a fun action game. Kazuhisa Gohei is introduced as the host of this corner and the director of the game. The discussion touches upon early mascot characters and how they shifted to brighter, more comedic characters in line with the overall atmosphere of the game. They also talk about a scenario that was almost cut based on debugger feedback because it didn't quite fit the overall tone, but ultimately they decided to keep it. This page focuses on the game's features, particularly the AQV system, which streamlines controls by eliminating diagonal input through map rotation, allowing for direct enemy confrontation. The Westone-friendly 4 team is introduced, with insights from Ryuichi Nishizawa on initial comic-inspired concepts, Mina Morioka on the immersive 3D perspective, Nobuhiko Endo's design philosophy, and Hiroshige Ishikuro on maintaining the character's color scheme. The text emphasizes the team's commitment to creating an action game for adults, surpassing the typical Hudson soft game image. The article concludes with a reference to Monster World 4, highlighting its popularity and reminding action game fans of its legacy. It then references the Mega Drive version and links to the Westone homepage. This page introduces St. Polya Girls' School, a game where you play as a cameraman infiltrating a prestigious all-girls school to create an album of memories with the students. The game is presented as a 70s nostalgic experience where you befriend these fresh high school girls. It boasts a 95% completion rating and is aimed at players 18 and over, priced at 6,800 yen, scheduled for release on July 11th, and is a single-player variety game. The page details the gameplay loop in 3 steps. First, you explore the school as a retro-style robot character, navigating classrooms, grounds, and even the girls' dormitory. You'll have to be sneaky, avoiding teachers and other students as you gather information and take pictures. Secondly, you'll engage in mini-games with the girls to earn film for your camera. One example shown is a rock, paper, scissors game. Lastly, the game features a photo mode where you can take snapshots of the girls and then edit them in an album creation mode, adding frames and sound clips. The page also highlights deformed characters, which are Chiba-style versions of the girls that appear within the game. This game introduction page for St. Polya Girls' School features 7 photogenic girls and 1 teacher. The characters include the English teacher Momochi Ranko, graceful swimmer Kochodo Yuka, the marriage-dreaming Yurisawa Natsumi, energetic Hinata Mei, business-savvy Saki Ayu, stylish and popular Rindo Sonoko, and shy occult enthusiast Kashiwazaki Eri. The page's title emphasizes 7 photogenic gals for a fun time, hinting at the game's focus on these characters. A Manmatsu gal principal, a strict but well-liked woman with a caring personality, is also introduced. The page sets the stage for player interaction with these characters. This Banpresto page focuses on Super Robot Wars F, featuring prize introductions, including 10% more than usual. It's segmented into themed sections, like Spirit/Guts, showcasing fan-submitted robot models with praise for their coloring and poses. The Luck section answers fan questions, humorously confirming a colony-saving event in a different SRW game, but explaining how F handles the situation. The Friendship section rewards featured submissions with Bampresto goods and secret information. The New Prize section highlights new 5.5 cm keychains from the Super Robot Hot-Blooded collection, featuring iconic robots from various series. A postcard recruitment section encourages reader submissions for various themed sections, providing the address to send them to the SEGA Saturn Magazine's Banpresto section. This page showcases character designs by Keita Amemiya for Hito Kazumi Island Story, presenting 3 unique characters, Rokuzo, Kisuke, and Kurion, all described as mysterious companions. Rokuzo, the yellow character, is described as a mischievous child with a strong sense of smell, using claws and teeth, and is associated with the Anzu family, enjoying attention and using a vacuum technique. Kisuke, the blue character, is energetic and always cheerful, using scissors to cut things, a pro at pranks, and a crybaby. Kurion, the rabbit-like character, is from the Fukurogakeru family, can inflate itself with air and make loud noises, and is sleepy, using a rock to sleep anywhere. The page includes designer comments, with one designer finding Kisuke instantly cute and claiming to have forcefully included him in the game. They also mention Rokuzo and Kisuke's contrasting designs and movements, praising Rokuzo's animation. Another designer notes Kurion's unique personality, finding it relatable, and initially struggled with animating Rokuzo until they re-evaluated the character, making it more enjoyable to work with. Pixel art images of the characters are displayed, along with portraits of the designers, who are named as Gibro and Endo Mika, and Gibro and Aikawa Keiichi. The page is an introduction to a series in SEGA Saturn Magazine, promising to introduce more characters and the world of Hito Kazumi Island Story leading up to the game's release. The illustration is copyrighted to Ghibli, Cloudbody, Zoomint, and Enix in 1997. This page is a special feature focusing on Yoichi Miyagi from GameArts, highlighting him as one of the 2 creators behind their popular games. The main topic is their ambitious new RPG, Grandia, which is being developed for the SEGA Saturn. Miyagi discusses the significant development time and resources required to create a truly impressive game. He mentions that Grandia has been in development for over 3 years and has cost around 700 million yen, emphasizing that high-quality software requires substantial investment and time. He points out that to make a truly great game, it needs to be given the time it deserves. The interview touches on various aspects of Grandia's development, including testing and the use of external staff. Miyagi positions Grandia as a major RPG, aiming to be a standout title on the SEGA Saturn. He even draws a comparison to the popular Final Fantasy series, suggesting Grandia is intended to be a similarly impactful RPG experience, but with its own unique identity. The page also includes screenshots from Grandia, showcasing the game's visual style and characters, further emphasizing the scale and ambition of this highly anticipated Saturn release. The text at the bottom reinforces this, stating that if games like Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy are the standard, then Grandia is aiming to surpass them and be a next-generation RPG experience that Saturn fans have been waiting for. This page is a special interview with Yoichi Miyagi from GameArts, who we were discussing on the previous page in relation to Grandia, and also Yu Suzuki from Sega AM2. The topic is still related to the Sega Saturn and the future of gaming. Miyagi and Suzuki discuss the need for innovation and taking risks in game development. Suzuki talks about how game technology relies on advancements in semiconductors, meaning that in just a couple of years, the performance can be 4 times better, even at the same cost. He emphasizes that to stay at the forefront, developers need to constantly challenge themselves with new technology. Miyagi agrees, highlighting that creating new and exciting games is ultimately about research and development. He points out that R&D takes time, which is why games that aim for something truly new often take longer to develop. Suzuki chimes in and agrees, mentioning the importance of trial and error in the development process, acknowledging that failures are part of the journey to create something innovative. They both seem to agree that simply copying existing successful formulas won't push the industry forward, and that continuous innovation and embracing new challenges are vital for the evolution of games. The page includes images of both Miyagi and Suzuki in conversation, as well as screenshots that appear to be from a Virtua Fighter-style game. Yoichi Miyagi and Yu Suzuki discuss the difficulties of developing for the SEGA Saturn, particularly utilizing its 7 CPUs. They reflect on the groundbreaking nature of Virtua Fighter, emphasizing the importance of imagination and moving beyond pre-existing concepts to create a true polygon fighting game. Suzuki highlights the immense calculations required for innovation, particularly when striving for realistic movement using techniques like inverse kinematics. They also touch upon the core essence of game creation, using the drama and skill of pro wrestling as an example. The goal, like in Virtua Fighter, is to capture the essence of the subject matter. The discussion concludes with anticipation of advanced, fluid character movement in future games, with a continued focus on the core aspects of game design. In a discussion between Yoichi Miyagi and Yu Suzuki, the two championed Grandia over Final Fantasy, predicting over 1 million copies sold. The conversation focused on kodawari, or meticulous attention to detail, as crucial for creating engaging games, a quality they felt was diminishing in the industry. Virtua Fighter 2 was highlighted as a prime example of this design philosophy. Suzuki emphasized the Saturn's potential for unique software, unlike the PlayStation, and presented Grandia as a showcase. They criticized the PlayStation's then lackluster upcoming titles, and praised the Saturn's promising lineup. The interview concluded with enthusiasm for Grandia's upcoming trial version, and a shared commitment to crafting compelling games. The interview took place at SEGA AM2 on May 12. This page is all about Sega's real model series of Evangelion action figures. It highlights these figures as a big deal, mentioning they are readily posable like model kits, but without all the assembly hassle. The figures are praised for their realistic designs that capture the look of the anime and games. Several models are showcased, including Evangelion Unit 01, Unit 00 Prototype, Unit 02, Unit 03, and even a gold version of Unit 01. Each figure description details its features and accessories, like the Unit 00 Prototype, coming with its lance and external power parts. The price point for these figures is around 1,980 yen. There's also an interview section with visualist Yasushi Nirasawa, who gives his perspective on the figures. He talks about the paintwork, proportions, and the overall design, praising the level of detail and posability. He mentions wanting to pose them in dynamic ways, like their striking poses from the anime. The page also includes a film strip of screenshots, which seem to be from an Evangelion game on the Saturn, showcasing the 3D graphics and linking the figures back to the game source material. It's clear Sega is pushing these figures as a way to bring the Evangelion experience from the screen to your hands. This page is all about expanding the Sega Real Model series, showcasing more Evangelion figures and introducing the Virtuoids from Virtual-On. Continuing with Evangelion, there are new figures slated for August 97 release, including the Evangelion Mass Production Model Unit 09, Evangelion Unit 01 in its awakened state, and figures of the 3rd and 14th Angels, Sakiel and Zirul respectively, each priced at 1,980 yen. Moving on to Virtual-On, this section emphasizes the designs of mechanic designer Kotoki Hajime, and highlights the upcoming Real Model series figures of the iconic Virtuoids from the game. Temjin, known for its balanced combat style, Viper 2, which is a master in the air, and the fan-favorite Raiden. These figures are presented as highly detailed and posable action figures, capturing the essence of the mecha designs from the game. The page suggests that these figures are the next exciting evolution in action figure collectibles. This page is highlighting the latest and upcoming Sega Saturn releases. We have a cute anime girl featured prominently, probably a mascot or character related to one of the games. The page is split into New Release Title and Coming Soon Soft sections. In the New Release Title section, we see a list of games that are fresh out, including Bust-A-Move 3, Ultimate Tiger 2 Plus, Roommate, a game called Summer Vacation, Kyarakyun Bunny Extra, Photogenic, and Nightruth Explanation of the Paranormal No. 3. The Coming Soon Soft section teases a bunch of titles on the horizon. We've got Ochi-ge designer Tsukutepan, Tokimeki Memorial Drama Series Volume 1 Rainbow Colored Youths, Super Dimensional Fortress Macross, Do You Remember Love? Bulk/Quiz Nanero Dreams, Rainbow Colored Town Miracle, Yakyuken Tsukyoku, World Evolution Soccer, and Magical Drop 2Y. It's a good mix of genres, with puzzle games, adventure, quiz, and sports titles all lined up for Saturn fans. It looks like there's plenty to be excited about for Saturn owners. This page spotlights a couple of new releases for the Sega Saturn. First up is Praedal Disc Volume 6, featuring Yoshida Risato, which is touted as a digital photo book. It's part of the Praedal Disc series, known for low-priced idle digital photo collections. This volume focuses on capturing the true face of the gravure queen Yoshida Risato, promising over 400 photos plus movie footage. They've even thrown in 100 Q&A questions, and some mini-games like Aki Muite, HOI, and a Yoshida Risato trivia quiz to spice things up. Visually, they're bragging about 16.77 million full colors for high quality, with shots taken in Okinawa and even behind the scenes making of content. Then, we've got Ultimate Tiger 2 Plus, a hardcore shooter that's apparently more than just your average port. They are emphasizing a Saturn Original Arrange mode and an exclusive Stage 7 not found in the arcade version. They are really pushing the ultimate quality angle here, and it looks like they've tweaked the balance and added special features. The screenshots show the intense gameplay and cockpit view, and they mention differences between 1P and 2P sides in terms of shot performance, particularly with laser weapons. It's also confirmed to be a complete arcade port, allowing for both vertical and horizontal screen orientation. Plus, there's a CG movie demo in the story mode to enhance the experience. This page dives into two upcoming SEGA Saturn titles. First up is Roommate Yoko in Summer Vacation, which is described as a communication game where you interact with a roommate girl during summer vacation. The game is about 50% complete and promises natural conversations and lots of events squeezed into a one-week in-game timeframe. The reviewer highlights the reactions and the deep, late-night events and dates you can experience. They mention that Yoko is returning for the summer break and that a trading card is included as a first-run bonus. Screenshots show dialogue scenes and gameplay. The second game featured is Kyan Kyan Bunny Extra, an adventure game that's around 40% complete. It's described as a popular romance adventure series, and this is the third Saturn installment. The story involves collecting fragments of stars to help Swati, a celestial being who is trying to grant the protagonist good fortune in love. The gameplay is said to be a continuation of the Puramiel 2 system. The page emphasizes the improved graphics with full-size screens and voice acting, enhancing the girl's charm. Screenshots show various characters including the protagonist, Swati, and other girls, and a scene of Swati cooking. The text mentions other characters like Mai Takasaka and Haruka Sakamoto, who are featured in the game and are described briefly. The reviewer seems excited about the enhanced presentation and character appeal. Two upcoming SEGA Saturn titles are highlighted. Photogenic is a photography simulation where players, as a cameraman, build relationships with three girls to create a winning photo album. Gameplay involves scheduling shoots, dating, and improving photography skills. The game includes humorous scenarios and requires successful and costly photos. Night Ruth Explanation of the Paranormal No. 3, Two Just Truths, is the third digital comic installment. It features 5 high school students with special abilities, solving paranormal mysteries. The latest chapter focuses on Princess Kawa Akawe and a new incident involving ghostly figures and mysterious numbers. The game showcases the unique abilities of characters like Yato Hagino and his spirit sword, Sekundari, promising an engaging mystery. This page showcases the game Eberouge. It's a title that seems to revolve around relationships and adventure. The page is visually driven by anime artwork, with a large central image of a blonde girl holding a sapling, hinting at themes of growth or nature. Around her are smaller panels featuring various other anime-style girls in different scenarios, possibly depicting scenes from the game or different characters you'll encounter. There's a section that seems to list the voice cast for the characters, including names like Noizu/Yuri Shiratori, Core/Ayako Torigo, Felton/Yoshinari Yamazaki, Moritsu/Yukari Hikita, and for characters like Castell/Mayumi Asano, Elt/Yuri Amano, Rintel/Wakana Yamazaki, and Yuroth/Jun Maeda, and more names for characters like Fulrath/Modoko Kumai, Muller/Kazue Komiya, Marian/Megu Urawa, Helen Yumi Kakazu. The advert clearly states the game is now on sale and priced at 6,800 yen plus tax, and it's on Krigram with 2 discs. It also mentions that the game is available for both PlayStation and Sega Saturn, appealing to a wider audience. Down at the bottom, there is promotion for a radio drama or radio show called Sansekijin Eberouge Legend, which is broadcast on Cultural Radio every Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. It also mentions that from April, it will be even more powerful, and it will also be broadcast on ABC Asahi, broadcasting in Osaka every Tuesday from 25 to 10 a.m. So it seems like the game has a multimedia push with an associated radio program.
Dream Access, a reader submission section, features diverse contributions. Highlights include SEGA karaoke with anime songs, a reader introduction to East Kana, and an illustration, and reflections on buying Saturn games like Baku Baku Animal and Dragon Force. Other segments feature a compile seminar story involving Skeletudaras, a dream about a game, and reader artwork showcasing illustrations. A humorous piece details cleaning a Saturn controller, while another describes trying to play fighting games against girls. The corner ends with an invitation for reader submissions, fostering a sense of community. A final contribution shares an arcade encounter with a Virtua Fighter artist. This page showcases reader submissions focused on gaming appreciation and confessions. The Skew Love Letter corner features heartfelt messages to game characters. Examples include letters to Ogami Ichiro, Sakura Wars, and VF Lion, Virtua Fighter. A unique love letter is addressed to music software on the SEGA Saturn, praising its music production capabilities. Another letter humorously confesses admiration for Raxel, fighting vipers, despite a rivalry with Akira players. A new Zange corner is announced, where gamers can confess regrets about games. Girls Talk Corner offers humorous anecdotes, like one about an id check for an 18-plus game, and another about a Virtua Fighter 2 player's Akira obsession. Finally, Everyone's Eason presents short, humorous comic strips about gaming. The page concludes by encouraging reader submissions for all segments. This page presents a new corner titled, I Hate This, diving into reader submissions about their gaming pet peeves. Complaints range from overly realistic sound effects in horror games and melodramatic scenarios in adventure titles, to specific RPG tropes like needing to increase luck stats, repetitive level design, and unskippable death animations. One funny submission highlights issues with RPGs, where towns are always burned down, NPCs are always in trouble, and heroines are always kidnapped, culminating in the hero becoming a king and the cycle continuing. Moving on, Gentlemen and Ladies Tear Duct Wide Open features a touching anecdote about a player getting emotional while playing roommate late at night, highlighting the immersive experience. The Good Game Discovery Liaison Council section shares reader opinions on games. One gamer expresses their love for Thunder Force Gold Pack 2 and eagerly anticipates more shooting games on the Saturn. Another player recounts their deep enjoyment of Daytona USA, praising the thrill of high-speed racing and the satisfying, nice driving, in-game feedback. Finally, the general review section offers concluding remarks, humorously referring to something as Desu Great Demon King related, and encouraging more reader submissions to keep the content flowing. There's also a drawing of Sonic the Hedgehog in a unique style, seemingly a reader's artwork contribution. This page features reader-submitted artwork and feedback. Highlights include illustrations of Vampire Savior, a cute anime girl, and various RPG-themed submissions. Artists from different prefectures are spotlighted, showcasing pieces from games like Little Princess, Marl Okoku, Monogatari, Evangelion, Groove on Fight, and Grandia. Comments praise the artistry, from soft hairstyles to detailed syringes, and the ability to depict both mecha and people. The section also reminds readers to submit ink drawings on postcards, following specific guidelines. Color illustrations are generally not accepted, and a point system rewards submissions with prizes. The page concludes with the submission address for SoftBank SEGA Saturn Magazine and humorous comic panels. This page is a SEGA Saturn game mail order catalog. It's packed with new and older Saturn software, Mega Drive titles, and various Saturn accessories. You can find new releases like Space Battleship Yamato, Distant Star War, Super Dimensional Fortress Macross, Do You Remember Love? And Taiheiyo no Arashi 2. There's a massive list of other Saturn games across different genres, from fighting games like King of Fighters 95 and Virtua Fighter 2, to RPGs such as Princess Crown and Grandia, and even puzzle games like Magical Drop 2i. The catalog lists prices for everything, with a note about consumption tax being added later. It also details shipping costs, payment methods including cash on delivery, bank transfer, and postal money orders, and how to place orders via phone or fax. For accessories, they've got Saturn consoles,
controllers like the Twin Stick and Arcade Racer, memory carts, and cables. There's a section for 32X and Game Gear games too, albeit smaller selections. It looks like a comprehensive one-stop shop for anyone wanting to buy Sega Saturn games and hardware back in the day. This page delves into the mischievous side of gaming, calling it Game Demon Training Academy, a path of useless training to lick the bone marrow and exhaust sentiment. It's all about suggesting playful, almost mean-spirited ways to enjoy games, focusing on exploiting game mechanics in unconventional ways. For Tokimeki Memorial Forever With You, the advice is to confess your love to a girl when her affection is at its absolute lowest, just to see her reaction and the amusing rejection. Then in Angelique Special, they suggest a extreme meaningless play of deliberately avoiding getting along with the guardian deities to experience the Queen's wrath and prolong the game unnecessarily. Moving on to Pro Baseball Greatest 997, the demon play tactic here is simply winning by beanballs, intentionally hitting batters with pitches to cause injury and gain an advantage. For Sakura Wars, it's about strategically raising affection with specific characters by having them absorb concentrated enemy attacks in battle. Finally, in Roommate Inoue Ryoko, the guide proposes making the character run away from home by neglecting the game for a few days after starting, highlighting the somewhat cruel but humorous possibilities within these games. There are also manga panels illustrating these playful and slightly devious gaming strategies throughout the page. This page is an advertisement for Creative Human, a mail-order store specializing in Saturn software. They are promoting pre-orders for highly anticipated games such as Super Robot Wars, F, Slayers Royal, Classmates 2, Tokimeki Memorial Drama Series Volume 1, and the quiz game Quiz Nanero Dreams. The store also lists a wide selection of games that are currently available for purchase. This includes titles like the quirky shooter game Paradise, Quote, the classic Super Dimension Fortress Macross, Digital Angel, Miracle of the Pacific 2, Desert Fairy, Sonic Jam, and a limited edition of Sakura Wars. They even have action titles like Resident Evil and the highly sought-after Princess Crown on offer.
Beyond just games, Creative Human also sells Saturn hardware and accessories. They list consoles, joysticks, cables, and more. There's an exciting offer for new members, a 5% discount on purchases, and free shipping is available for orders over 10,000 yen for members. The ad provides phone and fax numbers for ordering, making it easy to get your hands on the latest and greatest for your Saturn.
This page of SEGA Saturn Magazine, Volume 34, continues from page 59 and announces the upcoming release of Angel figures from Neon Genesis Evangelion. Specifically, they're featuring figures of the third Angel, Sakiel, and the 14th Angel, Zeruel. Sakiel is described as the first angel to appear against EVA Unit 01, and Zeruel is known for being eaten by EVA Unit 01, both very memorable angels for sure. The figures are articulated and are made of soft vinyl. They are scheduled for release in August 1997 and will cost 1,980 yen. Moving on, there's a section about the latest Sega information services. They mention Joy YOY Telephone, which is a phone service for weekly Sega news, and Fax Club, which provides information via fax. For PC users, there's also Sega PC Network for online information.
There's also a bit about Flash SEGA Saturn, which is a video magazine featuring game footage and previews.
Volume 17 includes titles like Sonic Jam, Sakura Wars Deluxe Pack, Magical Drop 2i, Chojiku Yusai Macross, and various other titles listed in the contents. Finally, there's contact information for the Sega Information Corner, including phone and fax numbers for different regions, and Sega's website addresses for the Internet and Game Busters. In this column from Sega's Joji Kamishiro, the author discusses his work on game soundtracks, mentioning Heavenly Symphony and Daytona USA Circuit Edition. He highlights the Animetal Company and their upcoming single. Kamishiro also touches on a discussion with Warren DeMartini about album recordings and a custom guitar project with Especially. He promotes the new female vocalist Asayan, emphasizing the importance of real sound. The Sega News Bulletin features Minami Un's praise for Advanced World War, Miki's departure from Sega Press, and Nami's excitement over the Mega Drive version of Virtua Fighter 2. Lastly, a postcard big collection invites readers to submit Sega Saturn-related content for prizes. This page is the SEGA Saturn Software Databank, essentially a comprehensive list of games available for the console from November 1994 to May 1997. It's packed with information, acting as a resource for players. The page details each game's release date, publisher, price, and genre. Crucially, it includes reader review scores and the magazine's own review scores, giving a good overview of game reception. There's even a column indicating compatibility with peripherals or special features, like mouse or handle support. Looking at the games listed, you can see a wide range of genres and popular titles from the Saturn era, from launch games like Virtua Fighter and Myst to later hits like Panzer Dragoon and Daytona USA, strategy games like Gotha, and even golf titles like Pebble Beach Golf Links. It's a really informative page that gives you a great snapshot of the Saturn software library and critical reception during that period. This page continues the SEGA Saturn Software Databank, diving deeper into the games library. It's essentially a giant catalog of titles, listing everything from well-known hits to more obscure releases. You can see the release dates are mostly clustered around late 1995 and early 1996, showing the Saturn's software momentum during that period. Looking through the genres, there's a real mix. Action games like Virtua Fighter 2 and Fighter's Mega Mix are obviously present and popular with high review scores. RPG fans had games like Wizardry Vi and Earthworm Jim 2, although some of the reader scores are a bit lower than the magazine's own, showing a bit of difference in opinion. Puzzle games are also well represented. It's interesting to see the prices listed, giving you an idea of the cost of games back then. Some titles support peripherals like the mouse or control pad, indicated in the compatibility column, which is useful information for players looking to enhance their experience. Overall, it's a really detailed snapshot of the Saturn's game offerings at this point in time, a great reference for anyone interested in exploring the system's library. This page continues the extensive SEGA Saturn software listing. It's packed with even more game titles, prices, genres, reviewer scores, and compatibility notes. Looking through this section, we see a continued mix of genres, with puzzle games, RPGs, and action titles all heavily represented. There are racing games like Nissan presents Overdriving GTR, and fighting games such as Fighter's Mega Mix appearing again, showing the Saturn's strength in these genres. You can also spot a few titles with peripheral support listed, like mouse or the 18-button control pad, for games that offer enhanced control options. Overall, it's more of the same detailed game data, giving a really comprehensive overview of the sheer volume of software available for the SEGA Saturn during this period. This page continues the extensive SEGA Saturn game listings, offering a wealth of data for Saturn enthusiasts. It's densely packed with game titles, release dates, publisher info, genres, pricing, reviewer ratings, and compatibility details, just like the previous page. You can see a broad spectrum of genres still represented, including action, adventure, RPGs, puzzle, and simulation titles. There are games listed that use specific Saturn peripherals too, with notes on compatibility. It's really a deep dive into the huge library of software that was available for the SEGA Saturn during this period, giving a very detailed look at the games, their pricing, and critical reception at the time. This page is an index of SEGA Saturn games. It's organized alphabetically in Japanese and provides a quick reference to game titles and their corresponding page numbers in the magazine. It's a really extensive list, covering a massive range of titles. You can see popular games like Virtua Fighter, Street Fighter, and many Japanese titles. It's essentially a database of the SEGA Saturn's game library at this point in time, letting readers quickly find info about any game they're interested in within the magazine itself. This page continues the index of SEGA Saturn games from the previous page, running from games starting with Chi in Japanese script all the way through to Wa. You'll see a huge range of titles listed here with page numbers, making it easy to find information within the magazine. Some of the games popping out in this section include Daytona USA, a classic racer, and the ever-popular Virtua Fighter series, with multiple versions listed like Virtua Fighter 2 and Virtua Fighter Kids. There are also strategy titles like World Advanced War and party games like Worms. You can also spot some RPGs like Shining the Holy Ark and puzzle games like Baku Baku Animal. This section of the index really highlights the sheer variety of games available on the SEGA Saturn, from action and fighting to strategy and puzzle games, and makes it a breeze to navigate the magazine to find the game info you're after. This SEGA Saturn Magazine Answer Postcard survey solicits reader feedback on the magazine and their gaming habits. It guides readers on how to complete the survey, emphasizing clarity and the use of numerals. The survey collects demographic data, and explores readers' gaming preferences, including the number of games owned, magazine subscriptions, opinions on the current issue's articles, and desired radio programs. It also gauges interest in free gifts.
Furthermore, the survey investigates readers' current and future hardware and software purchases. 3 tables list hardware options, including Saturn models, competitors, and accessories, a wide selection of SEGA Saturn game titles, and the articles featured in the current magazine issue. The overall goal is to gather information to enhance the magazine and understand its readership.
The next page is all about the cool connection between SEGA Saturn and radio. It seems radio is making a bit of a comeback thanks to video games, especially the Saturn. The page has a fun, retro vibe with pictures of people in radio studios, suggesting these are folks involved in Saturn-related radio shows. There's even a cute cartoon of a SEGA Saturn console with arms and legs dressed up as a radio, which really highlights the theme. The text explains that back in the 80s, visual media kind of overshadowed radio, but now, in '97, video games like those on Saturn are bringing radio back to life. The article is introducing radio programs where you can catch all the latest game info. Basically, tune into the radio instead of just staring at your TV, and you can hear all about SEGA Saturn. This page delves deeper into the awesome link between SEGA Saturn and radio programs, highlighting how game-related radio shows are doing incredibly well. It's all about this great relationship between the Saturn and radio. The page features a survey of game companies to find out about their radio sponsorships and if they think radio and commercials are effective for selling games. The pie charts show that some companies are sponsoring radio shows, and many think it's a good way to boost software sales. The article talks about how radio is great for showcasing games, especially with voice actors becoming more popular in games, similar to anime. It mentions that radio shows focusing on games have been around for a while, even before anime-themed shows became common. Examples of early game-related radio programs mentioned are Anime Scramble, Magic Knight Rayearth, and Twiny Paradise, which then led to game-themed shows like Twiny Paradise being successful. They believe that radio can really capture the full picture of a game. The article also touches on how radio audiences are changing, with more high schoolers and young adults listening now, possibly because of the appeal of games. They suggest that game users are tuning into radio more, which makes it a good place for game promotion. The piece seems to be pretty positive about the power of radio to reach gamers. This page features an interview with Yoshiyuki Katayose, the manager of the A&G Project Promotion Group at Bunka Hausu, a radio broadcasting company. He's talking about how game users are really hungry for good information and see radio as a great medium to get it. He emphasizes that in the 32-bit era, radio's potential has really expanded. Katayose mentions that game users are always looking for the best media to get the info they want, and they're not just focused on game magazines anymore. They crave reliable and valuable information. He thinks radio can be a fantastic source for this, offering a unique experience beyond just visual media. He touches upon radio's interactive nature, highlighting how listeners can send in postcards and get involved. This creates a feeling of community and direct engagement, something other platforms might lack. He references their radio program, Quo Vadis, and its sequel, Quo Vadis 2, mentioning its success and how they've managed to attract a large audience. He also mentions a PlayStation program, likely implying cross-platform reach and appeal. Katayose believes radio has a unique analog feel that resonates with people, offering a different kind of connection compared to other modern platforms. He thinks radio's strength lies in this human touch, and it will continue to thrive even with advancements in technology.
This page profiles Don Matsuko, a radio personality and sound creator, focusing on his connection to radio and Saturn. Matsuko, known for his work in game music for titles like Guardian Heroes and Lunar 2, discusses how radio allows him to connect with listeners and feel understood. The article emphasizes a shift, urging game creators to embrace the spotlight through radio. The page then describes the radio production process from an editor's perspective. The studio environment, often compact and professional, contrasts the relaxed pre-recording meetings. During recordings, the atmosphere becomes serious as the director guides the process. The editor highlights the unseen effort, the hard work, and the busy daily routine of radio production, revealing the demanding nature of the medium. The editor, initially valuing a late wake-up, now appreciates the dedication required for radio.
This page features more from Don Matsuko, who is asked about the increasing number of game-related radio shows. He explains that radio was considered as a key strategy for media mix development for games like Multilancer and Lunar, as a way to reach users and promote games beyond just traditional TV advertising. Matsuko emphasizes the close relationship between games and radio, seeing radio as a medium to convey the world and personality of a game, especially since game music and voice actors are already prominent. He mentions a corner in his radio program, where game creators can directly interact with listeners and gauge their reactions. He highlights the importance of having engaging personalities on radio shows, suggesting that relying solely on voice actor popularity or game titles won't guarantee long-term success. He touches on the effort required for radio, comparing it to TV, and stressing the need for consistently interesting content and a balanced approach. Matsuko also shares his personal growth, stating he initially felt like an amateur but now feels confident in being genuine on air, aiming to connect with listeners who are tuning in during late nights. The page includes images of Don Matsuko and a female radio personality, seemingly in a studio setting, alongside a small promotional image for the game Lunar Silver Star Story. This page highlights the strong relationship between the Sega Saturn and radio, exploring how radio broadcasts enhance the gaming experience. Discussions with Kitaro and Yokoyama emphasize radio's ability to stimulate imagination and bring game worlds to life, with radio stations actively partnering with game developers. The freedom radio offers allows for creative storytelling, such as depicting dramatic events within games. The page showcases various game-related radio shows. Sakura Wars Imperial Radio Broadcast delves into the Sakura Wars universe, while others focus on game music. Child and Ice Fairy's Game Drama Night. Specific game series like Sentimental Graffiti and Milky Princess Yuna 3, and even genres like Super Pachinko and Resident Evil. Popular shows like Anime Express Galaxy Network and Heartful Station, which covers Sega game news, are also highlighted. These diverse radio programs demonstrate how radio became a key strategy for engaging Saturn gamers. This page continues to explore the connection between Sega Saturn and radio, with more game-related radio shows being advertised. One show is Club Tokimeki Memorial, hosted by Kotono Mitsuishi, which seems to be a lighthearted program about everyday life and dating advice related to the world of Tokimeki Memorial. Kohei Uji no Multi Tengoku features game personalities and voice actors including Kohei Kiyasu and Tomokazu Seki, discussing games and drama. There's also a program titled Dengeki Daishyo, featuring voice actors like Taro Ishida and Yuko Nagashima, in what sounds like a battle talk show. Another show is St. Luminous Girls Academy, a unique concept about a boys' school principal taking over a girls' school, with discussions and talks about school life. Something Dreams Multimedia Countdown is a music program ranking anime and game songs. Anime Scramble appears to be about anime and game music, hosted by Nobuyuki Hiyama and Kotono Mitsuishi. Sata Masaharu and Hayashi Haramegumi no Mukyuho covers hot topics from new games to merchandise, hosted by Masaharu Sato and Megumi Hayashibara. Finally, Nagasawa Miki no Ayakashi Radio Ichiban, with Miki Nagasawa, seems to be a program for children with game information and guest appearances. The page demonstrates the variety of game-related content available on the radio at the time. The Sega Saturn gaming scene had a vibrant presence on the radio. Several shows catered directly to gamers. Gu Choki Paa Anije Depon on MBS Radio offered tabletop RPGs, expert Q&A, and industry guests. Megumi Ogata's Galaxy Howls, Meltlancer, on Bunka Broadcasting and others, brought the Meltlancer world to life. Dukyusei Love Speciality, on Bunka Broadcasting and Radio. Osaka provided love advice inspired by the Saturn game. Parageki, Tushinosuke Furuhon's I Am Next King, on Bunka Broadcasting and Yamagata Broadcasting, promised a wild show. Manami Komori's Wonderful Love for You, on Bunka Broadcasting, offered comfort and game info. Other shows included 2010 Radio Trip Android, Anna Maiko, 2010, a radio drama, and Tomoe Sakuri's Adventure Radio Movie, a contest. Game Performers Are Born from Radio offered a voice actor audition. Game Battle 97 for game roles. The Sega Saturn radio scene is thriving, connecting the console to enjoyable content through catchy slogans. Various programs highlight the emotional impact of game music, reflecting on its evolution and memorability. Mariko Kuda's Game Museum offers free talk and a game music countdown, while Ryuseyaro's Game Max covers diverse entertainment, including Atlas News. Hiroshi Naito's Zigzag Antenna focuses on listener interaction and classic game music. Enematopia R and TV Game Radians R cater to anime and younger audiences, respectively.
Manami Komori's Poppin' Pajama X ranks anime/game music and shares listener stories.
Kira Kira Network provides game and video information. Yuko Miyamura's Straight Ball Go is a talk show with countdowns. And Deno Tamatebako Katsumi Tanaka's Game Busters offers game music, guest talks, and street interviews across multiple FM stations.
This page dives into the Sega Saturn radio scene, highlighting a few cool programs. First up is Cyberwave Midnight Virus, broadcasted across several stations and hosted by Raiko. This show seems to be deeply connected to the game Virus, exploring its world and featuring guests like the creature designer from Hudson. Next we have Mitsui Rumina's Evolution Legend, hosted by Mitsui Rumina and Toyoguchi Megumi. This one focuses on positive stories and listener engagement, even hinting at a Saturn de Rouge, possibly a reference to a Saturn game or segment. Then there's Nomikome Koneko Radio Compile, with Kitade Man and voice actress Yanagisawa Miwa. This program is all about games and listener content, produced by Compile, the folks behind Puyo Puyo. They've even got segments on Puyo Puyo and fortune-telling, which sounds fun. Lastly, Ino Kenji's Night Warp at Home, hosted by game creator Ino Kenji and Angel Yumi, takes a more relaxed, at-home vibe, inviting guests and playing music and game news. They even have a real Saturn sound segment. The page also touches on the rise of internet radio, mentioning how you can listen to these kinds of programs online via PC, highlighting DFM, and even Konami's Twin Bee Paradise radio show. It talks about the interactive element of internet radio, with live chat, making it a really engaging experience. This page is packed with manga adaptations of Sega Saturn games and general gaming themes. It's a real showcase of creativity, with various manga artists putting their spin on the Sega Saturn world. We've got some familiar game titles getting the manga treatment, like the Albert Odyssey series, which is called Millennium Empire here, Mystery Dungeon, Shirin the Wanderer, Panzer Dragoon Zwei, with a mystery being revealed, and of course, Virtua Fighter and Virtua Striker. Even a Virtua Striker Gaiden, focusing on Captain Haneda. Beyond specific games, there are more conceptual or humorous mangas like Saturn Store Clerk SS, probably about working in a game store, Pair Com, which could be about multiplayer gaming, Secretary Tanaka Minanao, and Inoue Diner, which sound like everyday life stories perhaps with a gaming twist, and even Poverty Illness and Mitsuyoshi-kun. There's also Become, Dream Showdown, and Report, which are more thematic. Notably, there's Blood Fruit by Yasushi Nirasawa, which seems to be a darker, horror-themed manga, judging by the comic panel. This panel features a green-haired character telling a monster with green blood and horns, "Leave it to me," and then questioning about its green or blue blood, boobs, and skulls. Oh, it looks like a wild and imaginative mix of games and manga styles all rolled into one magazine. This page of manga comics, inspired by Sega, Saturn, and gaming, explores various themes. Albert Odyssey, Millennium Empire, humorously depicts the addictiveness of strategy games. Dream Showdown presents lighthearted baseball strips, showcasing game competition, and incorporating Sega karaoke. Love Love Not At All by Genjin offers a humorous look at relationships across different life stages, with a quirky self-promotion campaign. Albert Odyssey reappears, highlighting strategic gameplay. Another Dream Showdown strip features a robot in a baseball game. Finally, Love Love Not At All concludes with a couple discussing gaming preferences and how shared hobbies impact relationships. Kameda Tonbo is a humorous manga series with strips exploring diverse themes. Several strips parody soccer, including depictions of friendships, struggles of playing, and player frustrations. One soccer strip features a character named Haneda, while another focuses on the pain of being hit by a soccer ball. The manga also portrays older adults playing video games like Virtua Fighter and dealing with everyday situations. Other strips show an older man's love for seafood, a gamer's intense focus, and a game character's special move, a tamer barker. Additionally, a Virtua Striker movement strip features protesting characters. The bottom text hints at the Virtua Fighter series, The Cat Hand, and contributions from Megadora. The manga strip, Suru Masumi, humorously reflects on gaming, specifically Panzer Dragoon Zwei. The strip, created by Father Cat Plan 1997, features cat characters strategizing and discussing their gameplay experiences, highlighting the challenges of the game,
including its hard difficulty and the frustration of restarting. A special scoop promises to unveil the mysteries of the game. Midsection panels depict a boy and a cat, reflecting on the common gaming experience of repeated restarts and the accompanying sadness. The final section introduces Tsuru Masumi, a manga artist born in Tokyo in 1964, who is working on Game Boy versions of Silent games. The creators may be linked to Sega's Ashazel team, which developed Panzer Dragoon Ashazel.
This page features 2 manga strips and a report section. The first manga, titled Saturn Store Clerk SS by Mucky, is a simple, humorous comic about a customer asking a store clerk, who amusingly has a Saturn for a head, to sell them a Saturn game. The second manga, actually it's 5 frames long, Amy with Mysterious Pro, takes a different turn. It's a historical-style strip with characters resembling ancient Chinese figures and a giant snake. The dialogue is quite quirky, mentioning things like a secret palace, air conditioning, co-op play, and a snake, suggesting a mysterious project is in development that might be a bit absurd and fun. The report section by Mitsu is about a game show that took place at Tokyo Big Sight this year. It talks about the newest technologies and the companion girls at the show. The report highlights the fresh ideas coming from developers, and even touches on cosplay. The reporter, from Sega CS2 Research, jots down notes like, "Sega companion girls are cute," and lists his past projects, which include Mega CD games like Popful Mail, Saturn games like Rayforce, also known as Layer Section internationally, and Sakura Wars. This page is a collection of humorous content, including a nonsensical manga strip, Sagata Sanshiro Sickness. A recurring gag column, 4, Hikoyoshi-kun, is also present. The page references the Sakatsuku series, Sega Professional Soccer, with a Sakatsuku 40th anniversary announcement, listing key figures and possibly related to a team or game milestone. The manga features characters with masks and absurd dialogue. The right side features photos of a man labeled O, Wa, Ri, and Opinions, inviting aspiring cartoonists to submit work to Comic Satamaga using him as a reference. Credits mention Wachioi from Sega's digital media production and sound team, known for games like Magic Knight Rayearth, and Sato Katsu from Sega CS1 Research, formerly of the Sakatsuku team, further tying the content to Sega game development. This page is a promotional feature for Tokimeki Memorial Drama Series Volume 1, Rainbow Colored Youth, highlighting it as a direct response to fan demand. The game is positioned as an adventure title, expanding on the dating sim aspects of the original Tokimeki Memorial. The page emphasizes the deep character focus and emotional storytelling, utilizing a system similar to Konami's Police Notes for animation and minigames. It showcases familiar characters returning, specifically mentioning Nijino Saki as the heroine, and introducing a new character named Akisato Minori, who is also a manager for the soccer club, just like Nijino. Screenshots illustrate various scenes and character interactions. Dialogue boxes are visible, one with Nijino offering handmade lunch, and another featuring Akisato wanting to join the fan club. The game's release date is listed as July 10th, priced at 4,800 yen, and is a one-player adventure game compatible with analog controllers and the shuttle mouse. A message from the developers expresses confidence in the game's content and its ability to satisfy fans who have been waiting for more story and character development from the Tokimeki Memorial universe. They mention they are already working on future installments in the drama series. This page continues the feature on Tokimeki Memorial Drama Series Volume 1, Rainbow Colored Youth, focusing on gameplay and in-game features. The page opens with a prologue section, setting the scene on April 18th, the day of the soccer club regular member announcement. It talks about the protagonist's anticipation and the support from manager Nijino Saki. Next, it dives into soccer club practice, highlighting minigames used in trainings. These minigames involve aiming and powering shots to knock down panels within a time limit. Success in these minigames can contribute to becoming a regular team member. The at-home section describes activities you can do outside of practice. This includes using the phone to communicate with girls, seeking dating advice, and listening to in-game crids to enjoy the background music. It mentions that limited phone call chances add a strategic element. Night practice is presented as extra training available after club activities, allowing players to focus on ball control skills. Finally, the topics section announces new in-game items and an original goods campaign, Fans can obtain beach-themed items like swimsuits for characters. The campaign offers original goods such as bath towels, jigsaw puzzles, posters, figures, and plush toys as prizes. Release dates for these goods are also mentioned, with some items available from July 25th and others launching later in August.
This page showcases more date scenes from Tokimeki Memorial Drama Series Volume 1, Rainbow-Colored Youth. It's all about those heart-fluttering moments, they call it Tokimeki, and this game has plenty. We get a peek at 3 different date scenarios. First, there's clothes shopping at a boutique, where you can even play a minigame to coordinate outfits based on the shopkeeper's requests to earn rewards. Then, we move to a sports center batting cage. Even though the girl isn't a big sports fan, you can coach her in batting, and if you teach her well, her form improves. Lastly, there's a date to see an SF movie. Apparently, you need to pay attention to the film because she'll quiz you on the plot afterwards to see if you were really engaged. There's also a system check section that talks about how your choices affect the girl's Tokimeki level. Depending on your responses, her feelings towards you can change, leading to different dialogue and outcomes. They even mention that if you are too indecisive, you might get bluntly rejected. Interestingly, there's a related topics section that hints at connections between Police Knots and Tokimeki Memorial. It seems there are some shared elements or references, which is a fun little nod for fans who know both series. Finally, they highlight the boutique shopkeeper, pointing out her unique look and speculating about her possible connections to characters from other Konami games. It's all about these little details and surprises in the game. Falling Game Designer is a new tool for the Sega Saturn, allowing players to create their own falling block puzzle games. Inspired by the console's history of creation tools, it aims to put game creation in the hands of players. Scheduled for an August release at 5,800 yen, the software supports 2-player battles and is designed for all ages. The development is 70% complete, with a slight delay to incorporate feedback and polish the gameplay. Players can create 3 game types: a traditional linear alignment and erasure type, a same color connection type, and a unique pincer erasure type. The creation process involves 3 steps: setting up game basics, designing graphics and rules, and finally, completing and testing the game. This page introduces the 9 essential elements for creating original games using the Falling Game Designer software. It breaks down the game creation process into 9 key areas. First, you design the game blocks themselves, including their graphics and animations. Next is setting the game rules, defining how chains work and how to clear blocks. You can also design backgrounds, select music and sound effects to set the atmosphere, and define in-game items and their effects. Customizing title screens is also a feature. The software lets you configure controller operation settings and design the game field layout. Lastly, character creation is highlighted, especially for versus modes, where you can design characters, possibly using provided samples to get started. The page suggests these 9 elements are fundamental for crafting original puzzle games with this tool, aiming to make game design accessible for everyone. This page is all about the Sega Saturn game, Macross Do You Remember Love? It highlights that the game is finally coming soon and seems to be based directly on the classic Macross movie of the same name. The story section briefly outlines the movie's plot involving Hikaru, Minmay, and the conflicts with alien forces, leading to the discovery that humans and aliens share a common ancestry. The page mentions that this game will depict the final decisive battle and includes special features like an interview with director Shoji Kawamori and voice actress Mari Ijima, who plays Minmay. It's stated the game is 100% complete, and the developer message emphasizes the staff's dedication to recreating the emotional story of Macross, encouraging players to experience it. There are screenshots showing gameplay in space and on a ruined city environment, featuring classic Valkyrie fighters battling enemy mecha. Game modes or stages are teased with titles like Phase 09 Ruins and Dogfight, Max vs. Milia, referencing famous characters and battles from the series. The bottom section talks about the character Lap Lamise, a Meltrandi commander, and how her attack on Macross leads to the deployment of Valkyrie squadrons and a battle with the Meltrandi forces. Interestingly, Minmay's song plays a crucial role, leading to a ceasefire and peace negotiations. The page also provides release details, indicating it's a 2-disc shooting game from Bandai Visual, priced at 6,800 yen and set to release on June 6th. Macross Do You Remember Love? Tells of humanity's peace talks with the Zentradi, culminating in a narrative game. The story unfolds in segments, Reunion, Decision, and Distant Memories. Reunion sees Lin Minmei's return after influencing the Zentradi with her songs. Despite peace, Hikaru's affection remains with Misa Hayase, prompting Minmei to confess her feelings. She discovers a connection between her song and ancient history. Decision highlights Minmei's resolve to use her singing for peace, even as the Zentradi commander Bottle Caesar resumes hostilities. Hikaru encourages her, leading to an impassioned performance. Distant Memories depicts the song's impact, resonating with both humans and the Zentradi. Britai Kredonic, recognizing the song, recalls ancient memories, and is advised by Exidor Folmo to embrace culture. Britai orders communication with the Macross, with visuals depicting battles, character interactions, and Minmei's performance. This page details Phase 10 of Macross. Do You Remember Love? It's titled Deployment, and explains how the Macross side is surprised when Britai from the Zentradi unexpectedly offers assistance. Britai, influenced by Lin Minmei's song, instructs his forces to target Zentradi commander Bottle Bodzar. The text mentions that everyone who hears Minmei's song, except for Bottle Bodzar's guards, will obey and join their cause to reclaim their culture. The next section is about the jamming station, which is described as a countermeasure from Bottle Caesar. His forces are using a jamming station to weaken Minmei's song and disrupt its effects. The player's mission is to destroy this station with their Valkyrie squadron to stop the jamming waves. Then there's information about the reaction bomb. This powerful weapon becomes available after communication from Claudia, replacing normal bombs. It clears the entire screen of enemies, and is particularly effective against bosses. Finally, there's a description of an enemy, identified as Bottle Caesar's defense force. It's noted that while they resemble previous bosses, they have a brown color scheme and different attack patterns, mainly utilizing mouth-based attacks unlike other artillery. The page concludes by mentioning that the game version of Macross Do You Remember Love features enhanced shooting battle scenarios, with newly created original bosses, and that the CG visuals are beautifully recreated within the game itself. This page talks about Phase 11 of Macross Do You Remember Love. It's titled Love Do You Remember, and continues the story. Even with allied support, the jamming station is destroyed, and jamming waves cease. Minmei on stage is urged to sing again, and she agrees, believing her song will reach Hikaru in battle. She sings a love song from ancient times. The page highlights CG Valkyrie transformations and Minmei's expressions in the movie scenes, noting they are must-sees. The headline, Hikaru, Hear My Song, emphasizes the emotional plea of Minmei's song. The lower section is titled Saturn Version Macross Notes, featuring an interview with Mari Ijima, the voice actress for Lin Minmei. She talks about her long history with the Minmei role, starting from age 3. She mentions her debut in 1982, the Angel Voice comment about her singing, and the release of 26 albums and 20 singles. Ijima expresses excitement for the Saturn game, saying she might get too engrossed in playing as Minmei, and enjoys how the game recreates the movie scenes. She jokes about fans asking for a message, and says she and the staff made the game with dedication, hoping fans will enjoy it. She also mentions she owns a SEGA Saturn, and is eagerly awaiting the game's completion, speaking from Los Angeles. Finally, there's a tagline at the bottom saying, "You are no longer alone, because you have everyone." This guide provides operational briefings for the SEGA Saturn game, Macross Do You Remember Love? The early stages emphasize understanding enemy attack patterns and mastering the Valkyrie transformation system, Fighter, Gerwalk. Phase 01, South Ateria Island, focuses on effective attacks using Vulcan guns and missiles, utilizing fighter mode due to gravity. The boss is predictable. Use fighter mode head-on, and Gerwalk to attack from behind. Phase 02, Titan, stresses quick enemy defeat due to Macross's damage level. Long-range missiles and Vulcan guns are recommended. The boss alternates modes, requiring mode changes for effective combat. Gerwalk for offense, Fighter for defense, attacking its rear. Phase 03, in the Macross, features tougher enemies. Gerwalk for movement and Vulcan use, and bombs are recommended. Fighter mode with attack bombs and Vulcan guns is advised. A Skull Leader message reinforces the importance of strategic transformation timing and awareness of event timings to avoid enemy attacks. Knowing when to use each mode is crucial for success. This page is an interview with Shoji Kawamori, the general director of the Macross series, discussing the Sega Saturn game, Macross: Do You Remember Love? Kawamori explains he didn't write a traditional script for the game, but instead directly created storyboards. He mentions that new action scenes were added to the game to balance the gameplay and create a more engaging experience. He elaborates on the concept of culture shock from the series, noting that the enemy designs and their motivations in the game reflect this theme. He also shares his personal experiences with flying, which greatly influenced the game's flight mechanics and the depiction of catapult launches, aiming to capture the real feeling of aerial combat and the vastness of the sky. Kawamori touches on the Valkyrie's transformation system and mentions it was a challenging design process. He also reveals that a new Macross 7 video series is in production and planned for release that winter, focusing on Basara's songs. Finally, the page details a special giveaway for readers, offering original phone cards and reversible posters as prizes to celebrate the game's release. This page showcases Bulk Slash, which is being touted as Hudson's first original full 3D shooting game for the Saturn. The game's premise is about collecting passwords hidden on 7 planets to prevent the activation of a final weapon. Players will pilot a transformable mech and clear missions across diverse 3D stages, ranging from cityscapes and snowfields to even outer space environments, all brought to life with dynamic weather and searchlight effects. The gameplay is described as intense shooting action against relentless waves of enemy mechs, employing varied attack patterns. Mission briefings prepare players for objectives like target destruction or escort duties. The page emphasizes strategic gameplay, suggesting missiles and navigation are crucial, particularly against bosses. The narrative centers around Alois Galdner, a militaristic leader aiming for world domination using the space-fact final weapon. Krestall, the protagonist, is a skilled pilot striving to thwart Galdner's plans. Lizenravia, daughter of Galdner's former ally, also joins the fight. The game is marked as 90% complete and is scheduled for release on July 11th. The reviewer is enthusiastic, highlighting it as a groundbreaking 3D shooter experience from Hudson. Bulk Slash's partner navigation system enhances its 3D shooting experience by integrating beautiful girl navigators. Players control a mech capable of transforming between robot form for ground combat and battle machine form for aerial combat. These navigators provide real-time voice reports, including mission objectives and enemy locations, eliminating the need for constant radar checks. As the game progresses, navigators level up and offer more accurate advice. Their likability, influenced by player performance, affects the game's ending. 6 navigators are introduced: Leonie Rhodes, Kohlensteiner, Rupia Roulette, Naira Savage, Lyra Hart, and Medical Flare, all designed by Yoshihiko Asami. The game also features MS items scattered throughout the levels, triggering special event scenes and interactions with the navigators. This page spotlights Quiz Nanero Dreams, a brand new quiz game coming soon for Sega Saturn. It's described as a love-adventure quiz from Capcom, set to release on June 27th at a standard price of 5,800 yen and is suitable for all ages. The game is already at 100% completion, so it's definitely ready to go. The page focuses on a character named Rinsu, who is apparently a demon servant of the Demon King. The story revolves around Rinsu trying to obstruct the player, who is attempting to stop the Demon King's revival. Interestingly, she becomes interested in the player and starts asking questions and trying to get their attention. The developers mention they've added original elements like roulette and Rinsu's story to the quiz genre, creating a colorful town adventure. They emphasize the game's appeal as a break between more intense gameplay sessions. They've also tailored the story and dialogue for the home console release, allowing for longer play sessions compared to the arcade version. They even joke about Rinsu being the only subordinate of the Demon King, adding a touch of lightheartedness to the game's premise. The developers are also proud of the voice acting, mentioning the voice actress is the same as Saki from another game, but that Rinsu has her own unique charm. This page continues with more about Quiz Nanero Dreams. It's structured like a set of playing cards, showing off different aspects of the game. We see screenshots framed as king and queen cards, featuring both Saki and Rinsu. There's a developer's comments section from Capcom saying that they're grateful for the game's popularity in arcades. They mention that when creating the arcade version, They simply went ahead and made the scenario without much thought, almost like a parody of a respectable show. They joke that people who don't know the original won't understand, but encourage people to buy it to find out, with a disclaimer of no responsibility if they don't like it. The producer, listed as Unishi, also mentions they've remade the opening movie, so fans should check it out. The page also has more details describing Quiz Nanero Dreams as a culmination of all the characters' stories. It highlights that this Saturn version is not just a simple port, but has extra features specifically for home consoles. They've renewed the illustrations of the girls who appear, added new quiz genres, and a roulette-off mode where you can stop the roulette. They've also added scenarios for side characters like fairies and Rinsu, which were less developed in the arcade version. The reviewer thinks this game has a lot to offer, even for players who aren't typically quiz game fans. This page introduces Eternal Melody, highlighting it as a game focused on experiencing friendship and love, something beyond just numbers. It's described as a simulation game, where players run a handyman business and build relationships with 10 characters. The game system emphasizes emotional aspects rather than stats. The character designs are by Mu, known for their work on the Eternal Melody series, and their art style is said to perfectly match the warm atmosphere of this game. The scenario is written by Masamasa Takemoto, who worked on the radio drama adaptation of Eternal Melody, and animation is handled by JC Staff. The game was stated to be 90% complete at the time of this page. It was scheduled for release on July 18th by MediaWorks, priced at 5,800 yen for one player and suitable for all ages. There was also a radio drama planned for TBS Radio in July. The developers expressed their hope that Eternal Melody fans will look forward to it. This page delves deeper into the gameplay mechanics of Eternal Melody, focusing on how you'll manage your handyman business. The page emphasizes checking your companion's status, highlighting that you can monitor their levels, and HP/MP. It shows how you accept jobs through a scheduler interface, which seems to be the main gameplay loop. The game revolves around completing tasks and events that impact character abilities and feelings, ultimately affecting your support rate with the townspeople. The page continues to stress that human relationships are what's important, echoing the game's central theme. It mentions that while support from the town is necessary, the bonds with your companions are even more vital. A significant point of interest is the luxurious voice actor cast, adding emotional depth to the game. The cast list features names like Sei, Fai2, and others voicing the main characters such as Aleph, Chris, Patty, Sheila, and more. This impressive voice cast is presented as a major selling point, aiming to further enhance the game's emotional impact. In essence, this page elaborates on the gameplay cycle and reinforces the focus on character relationships and emotional depth, boosted by its star-studded voice acting. This page showcases World Evolution Soccer, a new title reaching a 100% completion rate and scheduled for release by ASMIC on June 27th. It's highlighted as a soccer game for all ages, supporting up to 4 players, and priced at 5,800 yen. A reviewer's comment mentions the game's realistic depiction of soccer and the intelligence of the AI. They specifically point out the desire for defensive overlaps and through passes, emphasizing a modern soccer feel. The page promotes the game's strategic depth, emphasizing the ability to control the entire team and implement various tactics. It details 4 game modes: exhibition for quick matches, world mode to conquer the globe, party mode for up to 4 players, and edit mode to create original teams. Another section, Fight with the Strongest in the World, lists the available national teams from America, Africa, Europe, and Asia, Oceania, suggesting a global competition aspect. The text implies a balanced selection of teams for diverse gameplay experiences. Screenshots throughout the page illustrate the in-game action and user interface. World Evolution Soccer features a robust edit mode crucial for victory. Players can create teams or customize existing ones. 2 modes cater to different skill levels: World Team Edit, a beginner-friendly option to modify national teams' names, formations, and strategies, while maintaining player balance, and Original Team Edit, allowing experienced players to build teams from the ground up, customizing everything from player abilities to uniforms and appearances. Edit mode offers detailed customization, creating formations, strategies, and adjusting individual player positions. World Team Edit allows for quick tweaks, while Original Team Edit offers in-depth control. Players can personalize their team's look with customizable uniforms, flags, and player appearances. Gameplay screenshots highlight in-game actions like passing and shooting, showcasing the game's dynamic elements and the strategic depth achievable through the edit mode. This page explains Magical Drop 2i, a puzzle game emphasizing its accessible controls and unique post-attachment chaining system. Unlike other puzzle games, players can continuously add to chains while playing, creating satisfyingly large combos. The guide also introduces special balls, power-up items with various effects that clear drops and boost scores. The warp zone is a key feature, allowing players to bank shots.
Furthermore, the page encourages customization, letting players adjust game speed and controls to their liking. The goal is to make the game welcoming to newcomers, while showcasing the depth that appeals to experienced players. Magical Drop 2 features a tournament-style story mode accessible to all skill levels, complete with adjustable difficulty and practice modes. Sudden Death offers a high-score-focused, no-continue challenge. Sun's Case may present a scenario demonstration. Know Your Limits is an endless mode aiming for level 99. Highlighting strategic use of warp tunnels, though ranking up demands chain combos. The game emphasizes special balls with unique effects, like clearing or changing colors. Mastering these balls is key for advanced play. Scoring relies on all clear bonuses and chain combos. Avoiding single drops is crucial. A ranking system, exemplified by a 3rd Dan rank, motivates players. The game is visually engaging, enhanced by colorful characters and diverse gameplay screenshots. This page showcases the Shugoroku mode for Magical Drop 2, a board game-style mode for 1 to 2 players. The rules involve clearing mini-games on each square to reach the goal, while battling enemies along the way. A key element is collecting metal balls, special items that can be obtained during gameplay. The page details new drop metal balls, which are essential for progressing. It also highlights the various mini-games available, mentioning that the types of games and backgrounds change as you advance. Another section covers Roulette for useful items, where players can acquire items to their advantage. The page shows screenshots of the board game map, mini-game gameplay, and character interactions with text boxes. It also mentions that the next issue will cover character-specific strategies and tips for using special balls, aimed at helping players become magical class players. The characters featured in the screenshots include High Priestess and other characters from the Magical Drop series in dialogue boxes within the board game context. This page serves as an introduction to a SEGA Saturn software complete guide. It highlights that this issue will focus on the game Tengoku, also known internationally as The Game Paradise. The text mentions it's a comprehensive guide for SEGA Saturn software released so far, and states this particular feature is dedicated to Game Tengoku for this issue, with a promise of more in the next issue as well. The page number is also noted as P120. Visually, it features 2 anime-style girls and a blue signboard designed to attract attention to the guide section. This guide offers strategies for achieving a nomus clear in arranged mode of The Game Paradise. Stage 1 is straightforward but cautions against the weak starting shots. Stage 2 emphasizes enemy ambush tactics and dodging. Stage 3 demands strategic movement amidst heavy enemy fire. Stage 4 highlights the need for guided missiles due to missile barrages. Stage 5 emphasizes boss evasion and pattern memorization. Stage 6 advises focusing on enemy order despite a distracting background. Stage 7 features transforming enemies and recommends charge shots and bomb usage. Stage 8 focuses on precision fire against fewer, tougher enemies, emphasizing dodging tricky triangle bullets and navigating through the face segment. To dominate time attack in The Game Paradise, use the Pupila ship and avoid damage at all costs. Maximize item collection for score multipliers, gaining 1,000 points per item when fully powered. Prioritize quick enemy takedowns, especially bosses, to earn time-based bonus points. Focus on collecting Nashu items consecutively to increase their value, potentially reaching 10,000 points each. Utilize bombs aggressively, as holding them yields no bonus. Practice in the dedicated stage to master techniques. Finally, for a visual bonus, unlock hidden graphics in Arrange mode by pressing X, Y, and Z on the character select screen. This page jumps into Advanced World War Thousand-Year Empire's Revival, focusing on the Sicily evacuation scenario, which is subtitled Soviet Aid to Italian Peninsula Invasion Pre-War. The article talks about how
After the Allied victory in North Africa in 1943, the next strategic move was to invade Europe. Sicily was chosen as a relatively important and achievable objective, with a higher chance of success. The game depicts the forces involved, noting that in Sicily, the defending German and Italian forces totaled around 330,000, mostly Italian troops with poor equipment, and only about 100,000 mobile units. The Germans realized defending Sicily was impossible, and were already planning a retreat to Italy. Historically, the operation was an Allied victory, but German and Italian forces managed a successful retreat and continued to resist strongly in Italy. The page includes game screenshots showing Italian Messi 202 fighters and American P-51A Mustangs in action. There's also a section titled "Similar Vehicles Also Noticeable," highlighting Sherman and Tiger tanks in the game, pointing out the visual differences between Sherman variants and Tiger tanks. Finally, there's a historical profile on Erich von Manstein, known for his role in planning the French campaign and his involvement in the Crimean campaign. It also discusses the P-51 Mustang fighter, considered one of the best of WW2, explaining the initial issues with its engine and the improvements made with the P-51D model. This page is all about Langrisser IV and the character Selena in the Passion Langrisser feature, Volume 6. There's an interview section called Wookie Takata Talks, where they discuss character creation, highlighting that Selena was created to be an adult female character in Langrisser IV, contrasting with previous heroines. It mentions that in Langrisser 2i, 16 characters were needed just for the PC version, emphasizing the large casts in the series. There's a Langrisser Fan Plaza showcasing fan artwork submissions. One is from Toyama Prefecture featuring a blonde-haired character, possibly from Langrisser IV, and another from Kanagawa Prefecture with a Chiba-style artwork of a character reading a book. The page also features a section called CG Battle Showdown, with artwork depicting a salaryman character in a CG battle theme. Artists' Room interviews Ikeda and Fiano, the artists. They discuss CG battles and how they are creating them, with a photo showing Ikeda on the left and Fiano on the right, working on the CG battle art. The artists mention using markers to create a dirty or rough feel in the CG battle scenes. Finally, there's a preview for the next issue, mentioning Wheeler as the featured character, and updates on the development progress of Career Soft, the company behind Langrisser. The page concludes with the magazine's address for fan submissions. Hello! Capcom Volume 30 features a Q&A with Capcom staff Mitcher and Tarko. They humorously discuss Capcom's origin, Capsule Computer, their Osaka headquarters, and employee trivia. They playfully address questions about cyberbots, confirming no sequel plans yet but expressing interest. They cover the Capcom homepage and offer advice to aspiring game producers, estimating a 5 to 6 year path. They clarify the Q and Y marks in Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo and describe their positive PR experiences. They also read SEGA Saturn Magazine. The Character Edition clarifies character removals in Vampire Savior and confirms Black Widow's gender. This week's Zombie Couple highlights Lilith's popularity. A Best Couple illustration contest is announced. The Rockman Q&A details Mega Man's origin as a modified robot and confirms music genre inspirations for character names. This page, from the Capcom Osaka Development Building Coverage Volume 5 20 seconds, features a Tell Us Mr. Funamizu Q and a section. It explores the desire for Capcom arcade games to be ported to home consoles, reflecting on older titles. Fan feedback revealed a strong interest in classic games for porting. The page showcases several games, including Alien vs. Predator, described as a belt-scrolling action game, and Capcom World Series, known for its quiz-adventure style featuring cute characters. The Punisher, another action game, is mentioned as a title created with great effort. The 19XX series, spanning games from 1942 to 19XX, is also highlighted as a shooting genre favorite. Other games like Exit X's, Ghosts, Goblin series, Nicky's, a puzzle game, Muscle Bomber series, and Wolf of the Battlefield series are briefly discussed with developer comments, mostly about their older game status and potential for re-release. 2 fan rankings are presented. One for most desired games for porting, topped by Alien vs. Predator, and another for preferred limited edition bonus items. The porting ranking lists games like Capcom World, The Punisher, Vampire Savior, and the 19XX series following Alien vs. Predator in popularity.
The article profiles Capcom's sound team for Vampire Savior and Street Fighter 2-1 New Generation. 6 members are interviewed, detailing their contributions. Kitamura focused on impactful sound effects, drawing inspiration from ghost houses. Iwai, a composer, created music to match each character and stage, aiming for a darker tone. Okugawa and Ito incorporated jazz, drum and bass, and a club sound, inspired by New York's underground scene. Fukasawa used samples for drum and bass arrangements, while Kajiwara arranged original data, emphasizing piano and bass. The team aimed for immersive soundscapes, exploring diverse genres to enhance the fighting game experience. The Street Fighter 2-1 New Generation arrangement album is set to release on June 18th. This page is all about the music and behind the scenes of Rockman Battle and Chase. It announces the upcoming release of a 2-disc CD for the game, featuring 2 vocal songs. The first song, Tell the Wind, is sung by Aoki Yoshino, and the second, A Lifetime of a Man, is sung by Yamamoto Ryori. Both songs are composed and written by Ono Yoshinori, who's part of the Sound Group 1 team. The page even shows lyrics for both songs, and pictures of Aoki, Yamamoto, and Ono. We also get a look at the Capcom development building, with a section called Support Room and Development Department Head Office Exploration. It feels like a fun office tour, showing different rooms and areas, including the development department head office. There are some funny captions like, Bossy Old Man, and Let's Take Something, suggesting a playful look at the office environment, and maybe some jokes about the boss, Okamoto Kunihiko, who is making his first public appearance here. We even see pictures of his room, described as filled with treasures, and there's a funny image with a stormtrooper and a Yoda figure in the office space. It also mentions getting presents, and overall gives a light-hearted glimpse into the Capcom development team and their workspace. Oh, and there's a picture of Gutsman, with some themed text next to him, probably lyrics related to the character. This page dives into the chain combo system in Vampire Savior, a game known for its stylish and complex fighting mechanics. It's a manual explaining how to effectively use chain combos, which are a series of attacks strung together by pressing attack buttons in a specific sequence. The guide breaks down the rules of chain combos, stating that they typically follow a weak to strong attack button order, like weak punch to medium punch to strong punch. It emphasizes the importance of timing your button presses correctly, hitting the next button as the previous attack connects. Strategic advice is given on building effective combos. It suggests focusing on low attacks, maximizing attack power, and utilizing moves with good reach. The guide also explains the purpose of chain combos, highlighting their ability to deal significant damage and control the flow of the fight. The manual touches upon input methods, recommending players to rely on visual cues like the hit mark to time their button presses accurately. It also mentions the eye press method, where you visually confirm each hit before inputting the next command for more reliable combos. Timing adjustments are important for longer chains. Finally, it covers guard cancels as a crucial defensive technique against chain combos. Guard cancels are described as the primary counter, and the page details different guard cancel methods depending on the situation, like during chain combos, multi-hit attacks, or immediately after waking up. This page is a special feature promoting the SEGA Saturn game Shutsugeki Minisuka Police, which translates to Sortie Miniskirt Police. It's based on a popular late-night TV program from SATA Soft, and this page is a special roundtable discussion, or crosstalk, to commemorate the game's release. Featured in the image and discussion are Terry Ito, described as a genius producer, Nanamori Mie, referred to as a Minisuka police officer, and Carlos, a producer from SATA Soft. The page highlights that the game is a digital entertainment experience, and mentions it includes minigames and a digital photo collection. It also states the game is planned for release in August by SATA Soft, and will cost 4,800 yen, or 6,800 yen, for a special CD and doll set. It's a single-player game and recommended for ages 18 and up. This page continues the discussion about the Shutsugeki Minisuka Police game. Terry Ito believes that going forward, games need to be accessible to older generations too. He mentions that the Hydro Panchira game within Minisuka Police involves button mashing to make a car move and revealing the girl's underwear,
which Ito describes as easy to understand and fun. Carlos mentions another minigame, Surprise Quiz Underwear, where players see a zoomed UP image of underwear, have 5 seconds to memorize it, then have to choose the correct underwear from 3 options to catch a criminal. Ito jokes about wanting a figure of the Minisuka police character. The conversation touches on character design, with Nanamori Mie feeling a bit embarrassed about wearing revealing costumes in real life, unlike anime characters. Ito jokes that girls with bad balance, like Nanamori, are appealing, and that's why she might be made to do these things. He also talks about preferring girls who are a bit awkward and not overly polished. They briefly discuss what kind of girls Terianta likes, and he mentions he likes girls who are a little off balance. The bottom of the page highlights Minisuka Police as a super popular late-night program. Shutsugeki Minisuka Police, starring Nanamori Mie and her police force, airing weekly on TV Tokyo. It is mentioned that the game is coming to Saturn. This page continues discussing the Shutsugeki Minisuka Police game and features Nanamori Mie, a member of the Minisuka Police team. She is pictured holding a cute figurine of the Minisuka Police character and mentions how much she likes it and that a CD will be included with the game. The page highlights that the release of Shutsugeki Minisuka Police is eagerly awaited and explains what kind of game it is. Screenshots and menu options show that the game includes categories like Riddle Quiz, Slalom Punchira, Pants Color Chart, Surprise Underwear Quiz, Punchira Recorder, and Punchira Slot, along with Image Photo and Making Photo modes. It seems there are 7 minigames, including Hydro Punchira and Pants Color Classification. There's also mention of a special edition that comes with both a figure and a special CD, promising unseen photos and videos of Nanamori Mie and the other Minisuka police members, even featuring CG panty shots. DJ Namo reviews Pit Boy's Great Adventure 5, The Last Demon King's End, a fixed-screen action game. The game tasks players with rescuing Princess Lan across 6 stages, primarily by navigating a river and collecting diamond spirits. Core gameplay involves locking onto up to 10 targets and pulling them towards Pit Boy using a rope. Collecting items triggers a roulette bonus. The reviewer enjoys the game, likening it to an advanced whack-a-mole, praising the satisfying rope action and strategic target selection. A 2-player versus mode is included. Ultimately, DJ Namo considers it well-made and fun, even their favorite in the series. A supplemental Namo's Talk section mentions a Saturn software trial corner with game demos. This page talks about the revival of classic games, specifically focusing on HES. It mentions that Eyes, originally released by Nihon Falcom in 1986 as an action RPG pioneer, is being included in Falcom Classics, set to be published by Victor Japan. It highlights the depth of the game's world and the diorama-like scenery, giving a sense of being there, even with simple graphics. The reviewer notes the enjoyable battle action and orthodox story with well-balanced character dialogue, praising the quality of the BGM by Yuzo Koshiro and others, seeing it as a prototypical comprehensive art game. The page also introduces RPG Club, Golden Fish Princess Sherbet, a user participation RPG project featured in GW5. It's described as showcasing character designs, various events, and battle system ideas, with submitted illustrations, creating a casual corner feel. They are still developing the full scope of the project, aiming to create a unique RPG. They invite readers to participate and submit their own ideas for GW5. In the GW staff column, the text discusses the increasing difficulty of AI in games like Shogi and Go, highlighting the complexity of human judgment versus computer calculation in these games. Namo's Talk mentions a previous game software introduction and a reader's comment about a new album. The bottom right shows an address for reader submissions and mentions a prize of a telephone card and goods for those whose postcards are selected. This page dives into the world of Elf, highlighting their Forbidden Fruit Corner. It prominently features a range of classmate original figures of female characters, with names like Misa Tanaka, Mai Sakuragi, Satomi Kurokawa, Kurumi Nishina, and Miho Suzuki. These figures are described as being around 16 centimeters tall, made of soft vinyl, with skirt parts made of PVC. The page details the pricing structure for these figures, with single figures costing 7,800 yen, 2 for 14,600 yen, and 3 for 21,600 yen. There's a call to action asking if you've seen the Elf homepage, promoting their website, which boasts over 50,000 visitors monthly. It mentions the site offers new information, goods news, and introductions to past works. ELF is also on the lookout for talent, advertising for CG designers, and 3D CG designers. They are seeking individuals with a passion for bringing illustrations to life and experience in-game graphic creation and editing using tools like in-house and commercially available graphics editors. They are interested in individuals with illustration and design skills, especially those with experience in game development and proficiency in software like SGI workstations and Photo on Windows. Applicants are asked to send resumes, work history, and samples of their work. Finally, there's a small column called Tama's Chirpings, where Tama mentions the rainy season in June and an upcoming poster dream release for upper and lower classmen characters, drawn by Manoy Kentaru. Tama encourages readers to look forward to more news on this. This page is a manga strip titled Welcome to World, and this is the 11th installment. It's subtitled Japanese Mood and Me Being Rolled by Tamagotchi, which is kind of funny. The manga is a 4-panel comic strip. In the first panel, we see 2 girls planning a trip to the zoo, with one of them looking forward to it. The next panel shows the excited girl being called out, maybe rushing. Panel 3 takes a turn for the worse, as she hilariously tumbles down some stairs, judging by the sound effects and motion lines. Finally, in the last panel, we see her at a concert, enthusiastically waving a light stick in a crowd. There's a singer on stage, and lots of tiny crowd characters. Below the manga, in a small panel on the bottom left, there's a cute chibi character mentioning something about Michan's voice and dreams, maybe reminiscing about a past concert experience. And in a text box at the bottom right, it talks about unexpectedly getting underground seats at a concert, and the contrast between the smiling masks and what might be underneath, suggesting maybe a less than ideal concert experience, despite the smiles. It seems to be a humorous take on everyday life and concert mishaps. This page is all about Virtua Striker 2, the brand new arcade game from AM2, and it's volume 55 of AM2 Research Express Weekly. They're giving us a thorough rundown of the game, highlighting all the exciting new features that are being revealed for the first time. They're encouraging readers to dive in and give it a go. The page mentions it's finally out in arcades since May, and is a significant power-up from the previous game. They've really boosted the graphics and system, with detailed character movements being a key focus. There's even an interview with the director, Mitsuyoshi, talking about the game's development. The page is packed with gameplay advice, calling it Examples of Advice, and it covers the essential moves. For short pass, they explain it's a key tactic in Virtua Striker 2, as dribbling isn't as overpowered as in the first game, so quick passing is crucial. Long pass is for sending the ball to distant teammates, highlighting its improved performance, and mentioning the cool day and night cycle that affects the game's visuals. Power gauge is about charging up your shot by holding the shoot button, allowing for free kicks and powerful shots, and they advise mastering the power gauge for curve shots too. Finally, for shoot, they explain that releasing the shoot button automatically triggers the shot. They point out that the keepers are smarter now, so just mindlessly shooting won't guarantee goals. You need to be strategic and keep trying until you score. Virtua Striker 2 introduces strategic depth with new gameplay elements. Players can choose from 7 diverse formations, each with unique offensive and defensive strengths and weaknesses. Alongside formations, tactics, normal, offensive, and defensive, offer dynamic in-game adjustments to gameplay strategy. Offensive tactics emphasize attack, while defensive prioritizes a solid backline. A new Best Goal Replay feature with shot analysis adds a visual element to successful plays. Goalkeeper control is enhanced, allowing for movement during free kicks and requiring more strategic shooting. Director Mitsuyoshi discusses user feedback from the first game, leading to improved player movement and rebalancing to make gameplay more challenging. He encourages players to explore the game's possibilities and discover their preferred playstyles. The next page dives into the world of Top Skater, a Sega arcade game where you ride a skateboard. This guide is aimed at beginners and intermediate players, teaching core tricks that all characters can perform. It's part of a powerful series from Sega AMR&D Department. Number 3. The focus here is on jump ramp tricks, highlighting 4 fundamental techniques. First up is the slide trick, simply sliding left or right as you jump. Next is the front or back nollie/ollie, described as the easiest trick input. Then, combining a slide with a back ollie, and finally, the slide with a misty, which is said to be harder to execute and visually impressive. The article explains that trick variations and scores depend on factors like grade, with more complex tricks leading to higher scores. It mentions examples like F/S 180, 360, up to 1080 for slides, and tail grab or triple front loop for front/back tricks. For the slide and back ollie, it points to staff's rank tricks. And for the Misty, it mentions Misty 900 to Stalefish or Method as advanced examples. The page emphasizes mastering these basics to level up your top skater skills and encourages players to experiment and research different techniques.
This guide explores advanced trick techniques in Top Skater, focusing on banks, rails, and jump ramps. Bank tricks vary based on direction, right or left, and input. No input results in grab or slide tricks. S-rank examples include frontside method 720. Roll inputs also trigger grab tricks. Director Shigano advises combining inputs for jump ramp tricks, exemplified by the Misty. Rail tricks, or slide tricks, emphasize style over grade. Rail riding involves straight sliding, while slide-on-slide requires a nollie after the initial slide. Right-left slide tricks are complex spin maneuvers dependent on bank and slide direction, with S-rank examples being the Alley McTwist 720. Sugano stresses precise, quick inputs and line taking for successful bank tricks. This page is a Top Skater special interview from SEGA AMR&D Department No. 4. It features interviews with two key developers, Masayuki Yamada and Junta Asano, both from SEGA AM4R&D. Yamada was in charge of the mechanics for Top Skater and previously worked on Virtua Formula, among other titles. Asano joined SEGA last year and worked on the cabinet design for Top Skater, focusing on the electrical systems. The interview covers the development of the Top Skater arcade cabinet. Asano mentions joining the project late and the challenges of the cabinet's side lamps, which act as a level meter synchronized with the sound. Yamaja Saida discusses the importance of achieving a balance between software and hardware input, emphasizing the feel and realism of the game. He highlights that just having good calculations isn't enough. The game needs to feel real and enjoyable. He also stresses the importance of having a clear vision of the player experience from the initial stages of development to avoid creating something unbalanced or unsatisfying. Below the interviews, there's a section showing the 3 stages of development for the Top Skater dedicated cabinet, highlighting the design process from initial concept to completion. Stage 1 shows early design sketches and ideas. Stage 2 showcases a slightly more refined air sliders cabinet concept, and Stage 3 reveals the almost finalized design, emphasizing its compact size and changes in the title logo. The text mentions these are design drawings showing the cabinet as it moves towards completion. This page continues the Top Skater interview from SEGA AMR&D Department No. 4. The team talks about the development of the arcade cabinet prototypes, showcasing 3 distinct stages. Prototype 1, built with wood, had rollers that were deemed uncool and removed in Prototype 2, which retained the wooden board but felt closer to the final version with a handmade touch. Prototype 3 transitioned to a metal board and took on a more finalized shape, including a roll bar. The developers emphasized that good looks are essential and wanted to create something visually appealing and engaging. They discussed the iterative design process, enjoying the refinement from initial ideas to a fun final product. We then see the 4th stage design, titled Ollie Over, which is close to completion, but still has some differences in color and details. Finally, the completion stage reveals the finished Top Skater cabinet, highlighting the chosen orange and black color scheme. The page concludes with a screenshot from Top Skater showing gameplay, including the triple front loop trick and score. The editorial team thanks the developers for their time, noting the interview took place on May 14th at SEGA AM4. Asano mentions valuable advice received from a top player regarding positioning and posture for the game. Yamada expresses his satisfaction with the project and the team's working method, noting a shift from previous projects where software dictated hardware to now building the cabinet first. This page is all about Virtual-On. It's announcing that 2 Virtual-On books are finally coming soon and causing a buzz. The article talks about these books being packed with info that fans have been waiting for, going deep into the Virtual-On universe. We can see screenshots from the Virtual-On games, showing off the mecha action. One section even says now printing, giving us a peek behind the scenes of the book production. Besides the books, the page also highlights the upcoming release of the Virtual-On drama CD called Counterpoint 009A, scheduled for May 28th. It features characters like Daichi Kuroki
and mentions specific mecha unit numbers like 234 and 207. Essentially, this page is telling Virtuon fans that there's a lot of exciting expanded universe content on the way to dive into. This page is still focused on Virtualon, and it's letting us know that it's all in store now, with the headline shouting, "Selling well!" It seems to be a follow-up on the hype from the previous page. There's a side section titled Rush, which is part of the Sega AMR&D Department Number 3 section, and another called Society page. Interestingly, there's also a small, unrelated section about baseball, talking about the secret behind Hanshin team's good performance and what might have happened to the players. But the main focus is definitely the Virtualon stuff, with those cool mecha illustrations again, featuring unit numbers 234 and 207, just like on the last page.
Probably still relating to that Counterpoint 009A drama CD.
Speaking of that, down below it mentions Cyber Troopers Virtualon Counterpoint 009A episode number 16, along with a product code TYCY 5553 and a price of 2,854 yen including tax. It also mentions a special pre-order bonus from Shops, which is a B2 promotional poster created by Virtualon Works with Nobuyuki Arai. So it looks like this page is announcing that the Virtualon Drama CD and possibly other related merchandise are now available to buy in stores. This page is all about Dynamite Baseball 97, a new baseball game from Sega AM1 Research. It's being touted as a major power-up from the previous game, with the tagline highlighting, "Bat Swing Power-Up." The article mentions that it features full polygon players, and uses the latest 1997 player data, thanks to IBM BIS cooperation, emphasizing realism. They've improved the bat swing controls and made it easier for newcomers to understand. The game also boasts enhanced graphics, more super plays, and new features to make gameplay even more exciting. There's a section called From Staff, where a staff member, possibly the director, talks about aiming for a dynamite baseball game that feels realistic, using IBM BIS data to represent player abilities and focusing on intuitive controls. They hope players will enjoy the depth and aggressive gameplay.
The page also mentions improvements to camera work during crossplay, making it feel more like a TV broadcast. They've added command input functionality for strategic plays like bunt shifts and hit-hand runs, aiming to deepen the competitive aspect. Super plays like diving catches and head slides are also highlighted, with short replays for good plays. Overall, it sounds like a pretty significant upgrade to their baseball series, focusing on realism and exciting gameplay. This page delves into the secret techniques of the boss characters from the fast-paced fighting game Groove on Fight. It's part of a reader submission corner where players share their discovered moves. The page highlights two boss characters, Demian Shade and Bristol Weller, showcasing their powerful special moves. For Demian Shade, the Stress Shoot is a downward projectile attack, and the Poison Zone is a jumping body attack. Bristol Weller, in both his human and demonic form, has deadly moves. Before transformation, Bristol has the Bloody Execution, which is a grappling throw, and Flame Storm Beelzebub, after transforming, unleashes a devastating flame attack. The page details command inputs for these moves, and others like Harley Magic, Rose Flash, Killer Mantis, Hunting Mantis, and Hell's Gate, giving players the inside track on mastering these boss characters. It also looks like they are running a competition for the best secret technique submissions, with prizes including Saturn games and book vouchers for top entries, encouraging players to send in their own discoveries. It mentions submissions should include game titles and secret techniques, highlighting that only unpublished techniques will be considered. This page is the SEGA Saturn soft review section, showcasing impressions of upcoming games. First up is Impact Racing, set for release on June 6th. It's described as a smashing excitement SHT race, blending the speed of racket games with the exhilarating crash elements of SHT games. The reviewers seem a little mixed, with comments ranging from feeling plain and lacking impact, to enjoyable in its simplicity and pretty good. One reviewer thinks it feels like a shooting game reminiscent of Mach Rider. It received an overall average score of 5 out of 10 from the panel. The second game previewed is Welcome House, slated for release on June 13th. This one is described as an American-style comedy-adventure game rendered in polygons. Reviewers found it to be a typical adventure game, perhaps a bit too simple, with one commenting that while it's not bad, it lacks the eye-catching appeal of a top-tier adventure game. They mention the humor might be a bit cold for some, and that the main character's actions can be frustrating. However, operation was smooth, and it could appeal to genre newcomers.
This one gets a slightly higher average score of 6 out of 10. The page also features comments from different groups of reviewers: Lady Users Group, Game Mania Group, and Guest Game Writers, giving a range of perspectives on these upcoming titles. This Sega Saturn Soft Review section previews 4 upcoming games. Taiheiyo no Arashi 2, Pacific Storm 2. A historical turn-based simulation, scores a 7/10, praised for its accessibility despite genre complexity. Choujiku Yusai Macross, I Oboete Imasuka. Macross, do you remember love? A shooting game based on the movie, earns an 8/10 for its nostalgia and solid gameplay. Missile Ha'ai Kido ni. Missiles are good, but... Another shooting game receives a 7/10 for its polished presentation, but generic gameplay. Finally, Sands of Destruction Plus, a shooting game compilation with both vertical and horizontal stages, also gets an 8/10 for its arcade feel and challenging difficulty. Additional reviews from different user groups offer similar perspectives. Overall, the reviews are positive about the upcoming Sega Saturn titles. This page is the new soft schedule for upcoming Sega Saturn games. It details releases planned for June, July, August, and September. For June, we see games like Cyberdoll, Impact Racing, Game Paradise, Macross Do You Remember Love, Micha, Welcome House, and more. July includes Fighters History Dynamite, Daikatsugeki, Bulk Slash, Marvel Superheroes, and many others across different genres like shooting, adventure, RPG, and simulation. August features titles such as Rockman X4, Mega Man X4, Go 2i Professional, and Virus. September shows games like Wonder 3, Scorcher, and various others. The page lists the release date, game title, price, manufacturer, genre, and compatibility details for each game, providing a comprehensive overview of the upcoming Sega Saturn software lineup. It looks like a packed few months for Saturn gamers, with a wide variety of games to look forward to. This page continues the new software schedule, covering game releases from September through winter of 1997. Starting in September, we have a mix of action with Image Fight and X-Multiply and Edward Randy, alongside strategy and tactical fighter and Grand Dread. October highlights the RPG Devil Summoner, Soul Hackers plus Falcom Classics collections. Moving into November, there's the adventure game Maria and the racing title Super GT 24 Hours. December is packed. It includes diverse titles such as the music tool Kanaderu 2, adventure games like Graduation Task, and unique titles like Roommate Kyoko in Summer Vacation and Silhouette Mirage. We also see arcade action with Ultimate Tiger 2 Plus. Into winter 97, the schedule shows the highly anticipated fighting game Guilty Gear, alongside Zellner Shield, Sega Touring Car Championship, and Tinkle Star Sprites. There's also a big crossover with X-Men vs. Street Fighter for fighting game fans. Adventure games continue to be strong with Riven, the sequel to Myst and Azel Panzer Dragoon RPG, which is Panzer Dragoon Saga internationally. This schedule promises a rich variety of genres for Saturn gamers heading into the end of 97. In Game and Art's Subtle Relationship, Emptiness is Not Emptiness, the author, Fuse Hakase, explores his connection to the racing game Tokyo Highway Battle 97. Hakase, a scholar and professor, finds solace in short-burst games like racing titles, enjoying the mental space they provide, even when seemingly zoning out. The game's depiction of Tokyo's night scenery, particularly the Rainbow Bridge, triggers personal memories of his time in the city, evoking a sense of nostalgia. Hakase draws parallels between his real-world experiences, such as driving his Land Rover, and the virtual world of the game. This installment, part of the weekly Fuse Hakase Academia series, hints at Hakase's broader interest in the complex relationship between games, personal experiences, and intellectual contemplation, further evidenced by his musings on the intersection of gaming and intellectual discussions. SEGA Saturn Magazine held a Reader Prize giveaway from May 16th to 23rd, with a deadline of June 20th. Prizes included 20 Saturn games released before June 20th, 1997. Other prizes featured Neon Genesis Evangelion and Street Fighter II merchandise, Slayer's Royal 2 posters, Farland's Story, The Seal of Evil, software, J-League Go Go Goal game, a Virtua Fighter Kids figurine, Sakura Wars, puzzles/clocks, and Grandia posters. Entry required a completed postcard. The page also included a staff list, a teaser for the next issue, game industry treasure hunt gang, and contact information. This page spotlights the Sega Saturn game Rabid, known in Japan as Jushinju. It's hyped as a fighting game where the battle for the Beast God Orb is about to begin here. They're calling it a chaotic fight with 8 dark assassins. The game boasts several key features, including the collection of 8 Beast God Orbs, powerful Beast God attacks, an instant defense system, and original continuous techniques. 4 of the characters are highlighted: Aegith, Yulan, Wuling, and Eddie. The game, developed by Rabbit and published by Electronic Arts Victor, is set for release on June 27th at a standard price of 5,800 yen. The screenshots show fast-paced fighting game action. This page is focused on the Sega Saturn game Rabid, also known as Jushinju, and it's hyping up the chaotic battles. It seems to be showcasing 4 of the dark assassins that were mentioned previously. We've got Rex, Jaco, Tianren, and Huen. There are in-game screenshots showing the fast-paced fighting action. It also mentions that it's published by Electronic Arts and copyrighted 1997, with some Internet EAV homepage details at the bottom. This page is about the Sega Saturn game Real Sound, Kaze no Regret. It's highlighted as a unique love story experience from Warp, emphasizing that it's played entirely through sound, without using the screen at all. The tagline translates to, "That wind changed us," hinting at the game's themes. It's announced for release on July 18th and will come as a 3-Chrodrom set, priced at 6,400 yen. The page also mentions it's featured in SEGA Saturn Magazine Volume 20, published in June 1997. The Warp logo is prominently displayed, reinforcing their involvement as the developer.